Not what I wanted to do. Hello. We are not having fun today. Not at all.
No, this is great.
This
Sorry.
is great. This is perfect.
It's perfect.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. We're in every time zone. Blah, 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 blah. Rugged Nova Scotia. We got a dog here, maybe. I don't even test the webcam, the dog cam. Oh, there's the dog.
There's the dog. That's right.
This is,
We're
yeah.
live. Yeah.
This is, we're going smooth, going great.
Should I just tell a joke and we can go home? Is that?
Yeah, just tell a joke and we'll be done.
We'll be done. Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome to Toast to Toast AM, everybody. I don't even have a drink poured. This is all just a mess.
Let's have a. You know what, Paul?
Yes, Dave?
We just need to. I think it's time to kick this night off right.
All right, I got tequila ready. I don't
take your time. Get ready. Here's to another successful
show.
Yeah.
Hit the wrong button. There we go.
There we go.
You name it, it's not working. All right.
Except Paul and Dave were working.
Our lovely chemistry.
We got the hustle.
We got the hustle. We got the people.
We got the people. We already have a super chat, Paul.
We already have a super chat, Dave.
We do.
It says,
go ahead, read her out.
It's from Kate. It says, stay and drink. So
there you go. Yep.
Thank you, Kate, for the valuable advice. We'll take that.
Yeah. That is, but we're going to take your advice.
Take that on board. All right.
Missed a super chat previous.
I'm sure we did. All right. We have another one.
Yeah.
This one is from
Scott Roscoe.
From Scott Roscoe. Dave.
Yeah.
I from Brevity want sponsor show. Good fit.
Well, I mean, we don't really deal in real sponsors on this show, so that's going to be tricky to shoehorn that in.
No, Scott. I'm inferring because there's words missing that Scott works for Brevity.
Yeah.
The notion of brevity.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, I mean, no, that
because we here are about verbosity.
Yeah.
This show, if you've watched this show, you should know.
Brevity is the antithesis of everything.
Is the antithesis of what we're doing here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Well, weirdly, I think things inadvertently got fixed, Dave. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, then the good stuff. And that's not a problem.
We need to do a quick test of art, and everyone's just going to hear this, so this is the way it goes.
Yes. Which shows.
Could you still hear? You could or you could not?
I did hear it, yes.
Yay. Okay. Oh. So, sorry.
The video's super laggy all of a sudden and bad.
So we that's on your side. You went all pixely.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I totally lost what I was. Oh yeah. So sorry. I was monkeying around. I got cocky. Sometimes I get cocky, and I think the show's going fine.
It's always pushing the envelope.
And I got distracted by a shiny new thing, and then I didn't realize that OBS was just going to crash. So I'm sorry, everyone, for being late. I'm sorry to our sponsor, Dave. I trust that we have a sponsor. Hopefully they will not watch the start of the show.
I mean, I feel like none of our sponsors ever really actually watch the
show. Oh, that's good.
So
that's a good point.
We're
okay.
Except for Pants. Pants is they're fans.
Oh, Pants gets in there? Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well,
but we absolutely, Paul, have a sponsor for tonight's show. As we've discussed, we would love it if we could just do this show for free and bring it out to you, but that's just not the reality of the world we live in. There's bills to pay, servers to farm, all kinds of different power bills, alcohol bills, various Russian, influencers that we have brought on board to try and promote us in new markets. You don't need to know all of our dirty laundry, but the point is there are expenses, and we do have some bills we have to take care of. So we have lined up a sponsor for today's show. And Paul, I am tremendously excited to talk about this week's sponsor. Um, my friend, I'm a guy who likes to have a good time. If I have a flaw, which I don't, but if I did, it could perhaps be said that I tend to choose fun over responsibility every time, every single time. Is this a desperate attempt to fill the horrible empty abyss that yawns in my heart of hearts, constantly longing, ever hungering, forever striving to pull me kicking and screaming into the oblivion that waits for every one of us at the end of all things? Maybe. But who's got time to worry about all that? I'll tell you who doesn't, Paul. Not today's sponsor, that's for sure. Today's sponsor is the opposite of worrying, the antithesis of anxiety, the enemy of enervation, and a great way to meet fun and interesting people. Paul, this week's sponsor is the original pastime for the young and the old, the perfect way to let off some steam after a stressful week, spice up a boring wedding reception, or to celebrate the end of a successful mammoth hunt. I am, of course, talking about dancing. Now, Paul, as a sheltered Mennonite boy, I know we're only one step away from being homeschooled. This week's sponsor might be just the thing you need to spice up your life. You can get some pep in your step and some do-si-do in your day with dancing, Paul. All you need is some music with a beat, a stiff drink or three, and you let the dance take care of the rest. It couldn't be easier. All you have to do is play some music, and then, Paul, all you do is move your limbs in a rhythmic fashion, move your torso along, and if you're advanced, you could even bob your head. Or don't. It's up to you. Are you moving just one arm? Are you moving two? You can take a jump to the left. You can even take a step to the right. You know what, Paul? If the mood strikes, you can go ahead and put your hands on your hip and bring your knees in tight. And personally, this is just me speaking, but I find it's the pelvic thrust that really drives me insane. And whatever way you do it, Paul, do yourself. Because the important thing is to do the non-copyrighted public domain dance again. And Paul, here's the amazing thing about dancing. You can dance with a partner. You can dance in a group. You can dance by yourself, or you can dance with a team of fellow teens trying to keep the rec center from being closed by a greedy land developer. You can dance with the stars. You can even dance like nobody's watching, a personal favorite of mine. You can dance your cares away. You can dance all night long. You can dance with the one that brought you. You can dance until you drop. Paul, you can even go dancing in the street. But, word of warning, while you can always dance if you want to, there is a chance that your friends will not dance. And if your friends don't dance, then unfortunately, studies show that they will not be friends of mine. Luckily, that terrible fate applies to less than 4% of the people who dance. There is no time, place, or situation that isn't instantly improved by dancing. You can dance cleanly, or if you're feeling a little spicy, Paul, then go ahead and try a little dirty dancing. The possibilities are practically infinite. And, Paul, there is even more. As if that wasn't enough, for a limited time, dancing has a very, very special offer exclusively for the watchers of this stream. Anyone watching this show can use the promo code Toast to Toast, that's TOAST, the number 2, TOAST, the next time they're letting loose on the floor, cutting a rug, working the pole, or getting funky with it, to receive completely free of charge at no extra cost, Paul, a shimmy, a shake, and a banging booty shake. You heard me correctly, Paul. All this can be yours today, thanks to the wonderful people working hard to make this world a non-stop electric boogaloo. Let's give it up for dancing.
Dancing. Dave, you are an underrated portion of this show. You are a national treasure. And I am so delighted that you got dancing in the
Okay, I got to ask you, what's with the heads with the numbers underneath them?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. It's going to be like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm winning. I know that much by 4.
We have a super chat.
We do.
I'm in the middle of a tabletop game, says the Ronin, but I'll
Ooh.
stop by after. So I'll stop by after. Thanks, guys. Hashtag Jupiter Boys.
Thank you, boys. Now I'm curious what tabletop game the Ronin's playing. I'm going to have to ask. After.
I assume we can't ask them live since they are probably not.
They were probably off doing a turn.
Probably
Is it
off.
40K?
Yeah.
Is it something privateer? There's so many. It is a renaissance of tabletop games these days. There is do the mashed potato. Yes. There's so I could have gone on and on and on and on in that ad for
that was the delight. My soul needed that. My soul needed you. I wasn't on camera, but Dave.
There you go.
It was the sponsor I didn't know I needed.
Yeah, that's it.
When
Especially
this show
for the first 30 or so years of your life, you didn't.
That's right. I know. So when this show is done, I'm going to log into dancing. I'm gonna use our. Did we have a promo code? I forgot. It was a promo code, right?
This is Paul. The promo code is TOST. The number 2 TOST.
Yeah. So I'm gonna avail of this sponsor later tonight.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Because that delighted my soul. All right.
Have you ever seen the video of it's David Bowie and Mick Jagger dancing in the street? So it's the music video, but with all of the music taken out of it.
Oh,
it's the most ridiculous. It's absolutely hilarious. Everybody should Google it, but not now.
All right, not now. Later.
Not now. Yeah.
I still think the greatest dancing music video of all time is Christopher Walken.
Oh, the what is it? The Fatboy Slim video.
Fatboy Slim video, yeah, whatever that one's called. That to me is the pinnacle of dancing music videos.
Yeah. I like that song because it has a Dune reference in it.
Oh.
One of the lines in it is "Walk without rhythm, or you'll attract the worm." Yeah.
All right. So, Dave. We were discussing.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. Sorry,
we were discussing earlier. What should we cover on the show tonight?
Yep. As we do.
You decided. Well, not you decided. You pitched me and said, "Well, perhaps last week's show, we were uncharitable or we were
a little talky, a little conversational, and we enjoy it. We're having a good time, but I felt like we didn't give Mr. Hoagland a fair shake. Didn't give him a chance to really present his case.
Okay, so and that meant less work for me because I'd already done the video. So
yeah.
So I was on board with that. So can you recap what you recall?
Oh boy,
Mr.
you're gonna
Hoagland.
do me dirty like this. Okay.
Well,
so Richard Hoagland was on Art Bell. He'd been on before. This isn't his first time on Art Bell. Previously, he had been on Art Bell talking about various structures on Mars. He had been in touch with somebody from NASA. He has his I can't remember what it's called. His project, his thing. They look at photographs of extraterrestrial objects, the moon, Mars, places, and really study them. So he's famous. It's he had a whole show about there's pyramids on Mars and the face on Mars and clearly man-made structures on Mars, or intelligently designed structures on Mars made by some kind of artificial means. And turns out, Paul, on the moon, more of the same. There's all kinds of buildings on the moon. The things, you can't throw a friggin' rock on the moon without hitting some kind of ancient alien edifice.
All right.
That's about all I remember. He had. I don't recall him getting into specific details, but also, events get hazy towards the end of last.
Yeah, they do. I went and reviewed it. So here's what I recall, and so I just wanted to see. So what I recall was all the stuff you said, but also,
yes,
Hoagland was accusing NASA and the government, the
Yes,
U.S.
yes,
government,
absolutely. Yeah, of covering this all up.
of covering this up to the
Mhm.
extent that they were, much like when you see in a movie where like, oh, they use the camera to loop on itself so that
Yeah.
I'm going down this hallway and the security camera isn't
remember him-
seeing me. He's accusing NASA of basically
Yeah, I remember
not
him stressing,
using,
like, you really only ever see 3 photos of the moon that they're,
right. So
that they're
not letting us see certain scans of the moon, even though they had them, because those scans revealed ancient cities under domes.
Right. Yes.
Is that roughly what you recall?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I do
All right.
recall that, absolutely.
So we are going to. I had this all queued up, but then we had the OBS crash and everything
So we're
went
gonna
to.
switch
went
around.
to
For
so I'm not sure
anyone
if it's
curious,
yes.
well, sorry, go ahead. While
Go ahead.
Paul queues up this audio and tries to get her going. I've had a very, very long week, a lot of long work hours. I'm a little sleepy, so I'm actually drinking, in addition to wonderful Balvenie Doublewood Scotch, some tea, some just strong black tea, in an effort to perk me up a little bit, because I want to be here for the long haul with all of you beautiful people. Also, head over to the
That's right.
Apology
Merch
store, get
store.
your own Toast to Toast mug,
or tumbler,
which I will be using later because I have some beers I want to try tonight. Which means I can already go ahead. We are playing bingo, and I have taken a drink. So
that's right. We are playing bingo. So
yeah,
everyone
I did
should.
see somebody earlier in chat mention it's like, I have structures on the moon. Can I? It's like, yeah, you just go ahead and tick that. If you've got structures on the moon on your bingo card, everybody, you just feel free right now. You go ahead and tick that off.
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. Also, apparently my bingo card went away, so I got to look into that.
You got to look into that.
All right.
Yes, that's right. Well, it does.
Okay, so we have. We're gonna pick up roughly where we left off last time.
Okay. Yep.
We didn't preview this. I don't know if it's a good. It seemed like it was a good place to stop at the time. It seemed like Art was basically trying to gear him for a hour break. So we'll see. So this is Art Bell and Richard Hoagland talking about cities on the moon.
Same kind of structures in another place we have found around Kirk.
Another place?
Yes. Now, obviously, there's a lot of work for us to do, both at the level of science, maybe more important, the level of politics and intelligence. But the dam is about to burst. Art, you are witnessing the beginning of the new era because you can't hide the moon.
All right, Richard, hold it right there. Thank you. That's a good place to hold it, as a matter of fact.
There we go. That was the spot I was
looking
looking
for.
for.
Keep you riveted. Yeah. Check your pulse. You're probably not really...
This was... it was 1996. This show aired originally, right?
I believe that is correct.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Also, the beer I grabbed. There you go. He's dancing. He's feeling it.
Coast to Coast AM with
That's our sponsor tonight
on the CBC Radio Network.
Good morning, everybody. It's a earth crusher this morning.
Also, technically, I'm supposed to cut that music out, or we may be taken off of YouTube.
I think that was pretty
innocuous.
Public domainy, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not plan this. The beer I grabbed is Harp beer.
Nice.
Which is probably the closest we're gonna get to having Harp mentioned.
HAARP, that's right.
Harp on your card. That's fair, right?
I do need to check. Yeah, I need to find my bingo card here. Where's my bingo card?
I'm not just saying that because I have Harp on my card.
My bingo card came back. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
So what do I got here? I have a drink. I'm just gonna take that one.
Have a drink. No, it's not.
I got structures on the moon. Okay, all right.
You got structures on. Yes, there you go. Tick that one off.
Art has a fax. That hasn't happened yet. All right, all right.
Yet.
Okay, perfect.
Should we throw the bingo link back in there again? It was way up at the start. But
I'll get the bingo. I'll get the bingo link.
I can do it too. You got.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the. Now we're finally at. I noticed. I don't know if you go back and look at the comments. I rarely go back and look at the comments after, for the replay view visitors, and I should. Honestly, I should go back and look.
I mean, it's kind of,
But I noticed that now there's one person who dutifully goes in and puts in a timestamp. of when we actually start talking about art.
Yeah.
So thank you to you. I forget which
Thank you.
user you are. Thank you to you for giving
Yeah.
us the link so you can miss our shenanigans and our sponsors
Yeah.
and our complaints about the week and tech problems.
You know. Yeah, what
We're
you
all
get.
here. All right,
We're
off
all
we
here.
go.
Or maybe that'd be a moon crusher, I don't know. Richard Hoagland, author of Monuments of Mars, NASA consultant at one time, is our guest, and he's kind of blowing it wide open this morning. Says he's found and has absolute proof. Not wondering about it proof, not speculative discussion, but proof.
So dancing is not something you should do when you have autofocus on, because it just goes crazy.
Doesn't seem to like it.
Doesn't seem to like it. No.
That there are artificial structures on Mars, not little ones either, big ones, real big ones. And so we're going to be talking more about that. And now back to Richard Hoagland. Richard, Richard, if, you know, this radio program's going to a lot of the country. And if as a result of this radio program, somebody at one of the big networks or one of the major newspapers around the country would like to contact you, verify your information, and get themselves the story of the century, would you be up for that, or are you going to follow?
We are ready.
You're ready.
We are ready. No, I mean, we would not have done this at Ohio State.
I feel very much that Richard Hoagland has been desperately trying to get any of the major newspapers in the country.
Yes, I'm sure he has.
Would you be willing? Yeah.
I have this book that isn't selling very well. Would anyone else would want to interview me about it?
Yeah.
That's right.
On Thursday night, we weren't ready. And the only hang-up is that I want to get this into the hands of ordinary folks in a way that they can really walk through. If you present these photographs just as photographs, some people will instantly recognize how extraordinary and anomalous they are. But we live in a culture where there is, either by accident or design, almost what I call educational dysfunction.
Yes.
People don't understand process anymore. They don't understand how the lunar environment is so radically different than the Earth, that what we're seeing, things sticking up.
More.
That's a huge problem. You know, back in the 80s and 90s, kids understood the difference between the moon and the Earth.
I guess it would be more like the 60s and 70s.
Oh, 60s, 70s. Yeah, that's right. The kids these days in the late 90s, they just think the Earth and the moon are the same, Dave. That's the problem.
Yeah, they don't understand.
They don't understand.
Terrible problems of solar radiation on the surface of the moon.
Gravitational differences and etc. They're just oblivious to the whole thing, wandering around with their roll up their suit jackets are rolled up, Dave, and they're not wearing ties. They're literally wearing suit jackets with just like a t-shirt.
It's Paul. Once you start losing the tie, the next thing to go are the pleases and the thank yous, and the next thing you know, anarchy.
Did you, Dave? I'm guessing the answer is no. Did you own any knit ties?
No, I've never owned a knit tie in my life. Yeah.
I owned several.
Yeah. I am quite pleased to be able to say I own over 100 ties and not a single one of them is knitted. And
awesome. Did you own any silk ties with a cartoon character on them?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So you did exist in the 90s then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Snoopy one I really liked. I had a Tom and Jerry one. I had a number of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, all right. We can.
A mile or two into the sky cannot possibly exist. That glass, cubical, geometric structures reflecting sunlight as a spacecraft goes by cannot exist naturally in the lunar environment. So what I did at Ohio State is I basically gave everyone a step-by-step instructional program in how to view the moon, starting at square one. And I took them through the processes, the geology, the environment, the comparison with Earth, the fact that you don't have water, you don't have air, you don't have clouds, you don't have geology as we know it. It's a very simple, stochastic, erosional environment.
Yes.
Wait. You don't have water, you don't have air, and you don't have clouds? That's
right. If you have clouds, the other two are bearable. But yeah. These are obviously in order of importance. A descending order of importance. We're climbing up the
Yeah.
where nothing but a meteoric bombardment beat down everything. Bashes, smashes, destroys. So you basically have rounded terrain eventually with lots and lots of rounded craters.
Sure.
The things we're seeing set against that terrain are so stunning that if you're a geologist, you literally leap out of your seat, as I had two guys do at Ohio State the other night. Jim Arjavik and Dr. Bruce Cornett. Dr. Cornett, who is a former geologist with the Lamont Doherty Observatory here in New York at Columbia University, has written a paper, a technical review of our data, and it has been published on the internet.
Oh.
So all you have to do is do a search under Cornett.
How has your data been received in this document?
Well, excellently. I mean, Cornett basically affirms everything we think we've got. And that was up until, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he had not seen the data, recently up until the other night, so I had several new things that we had been working on to surprise him, and surprise him we did. But what he has done is to provide this independent critique with the frame numbers, and it's very important that we get people the frame numbers so they now can begin to order them from Houston, from the National Space Science Center, the National Space Science Data Center outside Washington, from the other NASA archives. And
okay, what's happening here? So he wants, so the cameras go around. This is in the 90s, apparently, when cameras go around the moon.
Yep.
There was a service where you could say, I want frame number 9,621. That was a thing?
Yeah. I think you even talked about it last week that you could go. It was like basically like a NASA.
Oh,
like
right. So this was like
order. Yeah.
This was, sure, I guess this was back in the day, like barely had a website kind of a thing.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And so he's saying that he wants people to order, so there's certain numbers that he is asking people to order.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right, because this was pre-internet, really. So if you wanted high-res photos of anything, you had to, you know what I mean. It wasn't pre-internet, but it was certainly pre.
It was early days, and
very early days.
That was back in the days when they were like, "Hey, don't save it as a JPEG because that's too huge, and it'll take 20 minutes for people to download on their 14.4 baud modem." So, yeah, compress it down to a 8 color GIF. You're better off. Yeah,
you'd be better off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted something high res, you'd order physical media, right? To study.
Yeah. And actually, probably still to this day, not to this day, but up until recently, getting computer imagery, until the point where it got to like kind of 4K, 8K, 16K. The kind of study they want to do of the surface of the moon, it wouldn't have been good enough to get a picture online. Just wouldn't have been. That makes sense.
No.
Yeah.
Is they begin to look to their own files and their own, collectibles they've squirreled away over the years.
Sure.
A lot of the good information that we got early on in this investigation came from private individuals who basically were amateur astronomers and space program aficionados who just kept everything, thank God. You see, in the beginning, Art, the system was honest, and NASA gave away thousands upon thousands of pictures.
I recall, yes.
The way we're going to keep this honest is that since we've now identified some of those hidden material, we will compare what NASA has in the archive now with what they gave us and with what people have been retaining in private reserves and private archives. If all the data sets don't match, if 4822 from Apollo 10, AS1032-4822, isn't the same in every single representation, you got them.
And you are putting together a videotape that you might call Moon the Big Lie.
Well, no, I'm going to call it the Moon-Mars Connection.
The Moon-Mars Connection?
Yep, because there is a connection. We were led to this site by decoding the...
Back when we would order videotapes.
I'm excited to hear about the Moon-Mars Connection.
Yes.
It sounds like
Mars.
What do you...
either a prog rock band or WWE tag
the Moon-Mars
team.
Connection. I absolutely would go to the bar that had like the moon. Yeah, that's right. The Moon-Mars Connection.
Yeah.
One night only.
Yeah.
They're in from where would they be from? Lethbridge?
No, like Portland.
Portland, yeah.
Yeah.
you think these things are, Richard?
Well, they're structured. What we're looking at are remnants. Let me tell you that the major discovery.
Got to take off the Bellicam. It's getting PG over here.
Is it? Well, gotta scratch that itch, Bella.
Yep. Yeah. My female dog. Yeah. She enjoys pillows. That's all. Yeah.
Well, good. Good.
I think we've made here. We have found the remnants of two huge domes doming in two mare on the moon. One is Mare Crisium, which is in the upper right-hand corner of the moon. Go to an astronomy textbook and look at Mare Crisium, and one of the first things
Anyways.
you'll notice is it has a hexagonal configuration. That is not an accident. That is a reflection of the artificial glass multi-layered.
I know.
I'm not telling her no. I just didn't know if I needed to broadcast.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Dome that we have now found arching over Crisium. Photographed and commented upon, we found in Apollo transcripts by the astronauts themselves, and they didn't know what they were seeing, Art.
I wonder, Richard, by what deduction you conclude these are artifacts and not presently used structures?
Oh, because they're incredibly ancient and eroded. They have been bashed to hell by hundreds of millions of years of meteorite bombardment. If the calibration curves that.
But they're under domes.
Well, the domes. Okay, yeah, I guess.
Right? Like,
I didn't really answer the question.
You can't have it both ways. So why? Art said, "Why? How do you know that they're not currently being occupied?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, they're bashed to hell.
Yeah.
From bombardment, and yet they're under domes. So I don't know. I don't know which is the truth.
Well, or what's? I think you can't. The dome's not there. I think it's the remains of a dome.
Oh, you think the domes are broken?
Yeah.
And then therefore, but also he doesn't know what kind of conditions the aliens are worth living in. Maybe they're fine in like the bashed up, just because everything's not shiny new, and he's got, his standards of living involve like, I won't live in a building that's been bashed by an asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't know this.
Maybe we're in like a Beyond Thunderdome situation here.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We get from other space science.
Kip says that Bob Dole passed away this week.
No, Bob Cole.
Oh,
CBC Sport. Yeah, I had her.
Oh, Bob Cole. Well, that's more important.
Yeah.
Yes, and I knew that Bob Cole passed. For some reason, I was thinking Bob Dole, the inventor of the internet.
He die some time ago?
Yes.
I feel like Bob Dole has been dead for.
He did. But do you remember when he said that he invented the internet? Because that was
wasn't that Al Gore?
Oh, that was Al Gore. I'm conflating two people.
You are.
I shouldn't.
Very, very different people.
Very different people.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bob Cole. Yes, moment of silence for Bob Cole.
But is accurate.
Except we're the only thing on YouTube right now, so we can't do a moment of silence because that's just not acceptable.
Well, that was a moment.
Oh, I see.
Not
a minute, but a moment. Gotcha.
This is very, 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 very ancient stuff.
Very old stuff.
Very old stuff. This is so awesomely old that I can tell you what happened now. We found this stuff. Somebody in NASA looked at the photographs or put the data together, and they figured it out, and they took it to a tiny handful in this government, and they literally freaked out, and they said, oh my God, we can't show anybody this, and they hid it from the rest of NASA and the rest of us, and they've been terrified that someone would find out 30 plus years.
Richard, I want to run something by you. This last Sunday on Dreamland,
I got government cover up on their bingo card.
That's right.
Go ahead and check that right off. Ooh, I do have stating wild conjecture as established fact.
Ooh,
I'm going to go ahead and tick that off.
that seems like a slam dunk.
Yep. Do you have any evidence to back this up? Well,
I feel like weirdly I have artificial moon, and I'm not even sure that's going to come up. It's sad because it's going to be all about the moon, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think he believes it. Well, maybe. I can't remember if Hoagland believes in artificial moon, but maybe he does.
I think he does, but it just doesn't seem like that's gonna. He's all on about the buildings on the moon. So
yeah.
had a physicist on who is of the opinion that that we have had a number of polar changes, polar shifts, and that there have been previous civilizations that are not necessarily, in other words, that our current ETs, if they exist, are not really from any place else, but in fact from previous civilizations where humanity has risen to some level or another of technology and then been smashed down, much like the dinosaurs, by polar shifts.
Who's the physicist?
I'm sorry.
Does Art Bell think that the dinosaurs died by polar shifts?
No, well, that's what this physicist that.
Oh, I
was-
got you.
was
Okay.
Come up with his name, R.W. Whitfield.
And where is he from? What has he published that one could refer to?
He's published a book called The Force.
Okay.
All right, and you can refer to that. But
Okay, next week, 2 weeks from now, I am coming to your part of the country. I'm coming to Arizona, and I'm going to get together with some Hopi elders because our calculation, in terms of the hyperdimensional physics, looking backward now at the history of the Earth,
right,
indicate that, in fact, this is quite possible. And I believe that the four worlds, the Hopi, reflect the idea of four previous epochs where civilization rose to a remarkable height and then something happened.
There you go, Richard. See,
some catastrophe.
He mentioned the Hopi.
Okay. Well, I for some reason, they're going to sit down and talk to me. They have seen the UN briefing. They had seen the tape, and it apparently is now time for us to have the conversation. The reason that this is good timing is because I believe that if one is
Shifting poles. Hot dog.
Oh, you got that one?
Yeah.
concerned that this could happen again. In this physics, there are things we can do. We are not powerless to do something about this, as awesome as that may sound. And part of the secret,
I feel like there's not much we can do about a shifting pole, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
Melody Kate, thank you for the super chat for $20. Polar shift. Polar shift coming. Warning.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We should have a polar shift klaxon to let everybody know.
Amber alert at very least. Some sort of the. Yeah.
I do think we're kind of getting due for one, aren't we? Or not a shift, but the flip.
Oh,
the
a magnetic. You mean a magnetic pole shift?
Yeah.
I think it's.
I mean, not like in yours and mine lifetime. Probably,
No. I think we're still 10,000 years away or something. But yeah, it's getting.
Well, but it's a pretty wide. It's like give or take. I think we're hitting the thing where it's like it actually could happen reasonably soon, geologically speaking. Or
right, geologically speaking, but not in my. Yeah, last time I researched, I don't remember what the year was, but it wasn't in my lifetime. So yeah, or my kid's lifetime. Yeah.
the reason why we've got
I'm
to
not
get
an expert, and somebody in the chat could absolutely correct me. I think the magnetic field is weakening and like noticeably, sort of year by year. as
Well,
we're heading
weakening
into,
is the wrong way to say it, right? Like it's
you know,
not.
yeah.
Like it ebbs and flows. So it's.
But I think it's hitting it's getting down to like the lower parts of
right.
the cycle.
Yeah, I believe so too. It's giving me We have another super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Chain. Aaron Colson writes, "Oh, I made it to another one. As the last one taught me, I may not make it to the end, but I love toast to toast."
Hey,
we
love you.
Dave and I don't always make it to the end either.
Nope.
We don't blame you. Oh.
Anonymous Paul is asking you the hard-hitting questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, right.
Does Paul deny the how do you pronounce it? Mary Mar Mari? I know the word. I've read it, but I've never said it. Coffee tables on the moon.
I don't deny them. I don't. So I acknowledge the existence of coffee tables.
You heard it right here, chat. This hypocrite.
I am just anti-coffee table. I'm a coffee table bigot, as it were. I don't think the coffee tables should be mingling. We don't serve their kind here, as they say.
Wow. Okay. I was really coming out with it.
Yeah. I am. Yep. So, of course, those dirty coffee tables exist. I just think they should have separate schools.
this? Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Who are the two guys trying to take over the Disney board there a couple weeks ago? It was Ike
Oh,
Perlmutter
yeah,
and
yeah. I forget his name,
uh,
but because
Ben something. There was a statement before they lost the vote.
for those who are unfamiliar, there about a month ago there was an attempted hostile takeover of the Disney board
Yeah.
trying to oust Bob Iger because it was an anti-woke delegation. They thought Disney was
Yeah.
being too woke, and this guy who owned like 19 shares of the company was trying to take over.
I should wish I find it's the other guy that was with him on it. It wasn't like Perlmutter, it was the other one. It was another, just oblivious billionaire.
Yeah.
Released a public statement that was like the most like you're seeing everything. The one thing I remember is like, we don't need messaging or all the women in when you go to see a Marvel,
Go see a Marvel.
you don't want to see a bunch of women. It's just like, what do you think your company does? I'm curious. What do you believe this is that you're selling? That's oh my yeah. It goes on. It's like a whole page, and it's just this is and you just know there's like some like 25-year-old person who's responsible for the internet, just like, we can't do that. It's just, you put this up there, okay? Yep, you're the boss.
I enjoyed that vote was roughly around like it was over 90%. I don't know if it was 96. I want to say it was 96, but the vote was like embarrassingly counter to the takeover.
Mm-hmm.
I know George Lucas is he's the single largest individual Disney shareholder.
Yeah, and
and his vote alone would have and he was like, this is stupid. Creative people need to be in charge, not like not weirdos. So yeah. Thank you for the super chat, $5 super chat, SJL. I had to watch the last show a day late due to an unwanted delivery of a nap. Oh,
why was it unwanted? That sounds
I've never even heard of such a thing, an unwanted nap.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there's naps that cause you to choose certain portions of your life over other things, but never unwanted. Left-handed Jedi, thank you for the super chat. What about the philosophy of Paul's coffee table orbiting the moon? I mean,
Paul.
So I'm not going to deny, I have in my life lived in houses with coffee tables. My parents' houses had coffee tables. Some of my early houses before I was before I made myself in charge of things by being the only adult, had coffee tables. So, I mean, it's possible that there is a coffee table one could attribute to me orbiting the moon. If I don't know the philosophical. I mean, unless they're talking about like the teapot orbiting. Do you know of Dennett's teapot? The notion that you can't disprove that there's a teapot orbiting the Earth. It's meant to be an illustration of burden of proof.
But I mean, can't you just like look really careful at everything orbiting the Earth, and then you'd know whether or not there was a teapot orbiting the Earth? Why can't you
because
not,
this teapot, Dave, this teapot is conveniently just slightly smaller. It's just slightly smaller than what our sensors can tell from here.
Okay. Sure.
I feel like this.
this was a more effective.
It was a more effective analogy in the early days of the before we were really. But
yeah.
And then we have one more super chat. Thank you for that super chat.
Yes.
Left-handed Jedi, I appreciate you. Mark Fernkoff, longtime friend. Nightstands gather more clutter than coffee tables.
That is accurate. That is accurate. The nightstand next to my bed is a horrible, cluttery mess, and even I, who revel in clutter, I'm like, this is too much. I really need
And
to do something.
yeah, I would not disagree with that at all. But I relinquished control of
It's
that
because
room
you have
long
you have
ago.
something you have something in your pockets, or whatever. Like, you go to bed, you've got some change, you've got whatever.
Mm.
Like, things just sort of accrue about your person, often in day-to-day life. And you go into bed, and so what do you do with it? Like, you're not just gonna throw it on the floor. So you put it on the nightstand next to your bed, but then you wake up and there's things to do, and off you go, right? Like,
That's right.
you don't
Yep.
wake up and you're like, oh, what I gotta do is clean my nightstand.
Well, the problem is when you're around the nightstand, you're in a diminished state, even if you're hyper vigilant about clutter,
exactly,
like I am.
right?
You're in that diminished state of, well, I'm stumbling to bed and the lights are off, and
Yeah, most people aren't hanging around your nightstand at like 3 PM. It's right.
right. You're not, and then I am. As you know, Dave, I am not at my best the first thing in the morning.
No, I mean, me neither. Neither of us are morning people.
No, so the nights, like, once I've had my coffee, I'm all right, but I'm not going back to the nightstand post
No,
coffee.
by that point,
so
now you're
right. You're moving on.
That's it.
So,
yeah.
Mark Frinkov, I think all we're doing is just agreeing. We're nodding our heads vigorously that you are correct.
Yeah. Nothing more exciting than a show where everybody agrees.
That's right.
I found this statement. Can I read this? Because
You may read it. Yes.
This is hilarious. Nelson Pelts. That's who the other. It was like promoter Nelson Pelts for the people. So this is 81-year-old billionaire Nelson Pelts
Okay.
trying to take over Disney. This is a statement he gave to the Financial Times. Paul.
Okay.
Some major newspaper. Why do I have to have a Marvel that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to do that? Why can't I have Marvel that are both? Why do I need an all-black cast? There's an editorial note here. Black Panther does not have an all-black cast, nor does the Marvels have an all-female cast. Let's see if I can find. They just took it. This is just an article. They clip it because it goes on. It goes on and about. He's like, I don't think Feige has done a good job and is the guy for the. And it's like he's the single most successful movie producer in history.
Yeah.
Like unarguably, he's made. What is it? $55 billion or something?
Right.
Like, it's insane. I was like, nah, that guy fell asleep at the switch. He's not the kind of guy that we want. We need to get him out of here right away. I just love that. Yeah.
One could make an argument about whether, has he crescendoed? Like, has he peaked? One could.
Well, I mean, we could argue that. If you look at the last couple of years, it's been maybe a little.
But even so, Kevin Feige on the downturn.
Yeah.
Is still going to be much better than most.
Perlmutter.
Yeah. We have another super chat from Aaron Colson.
Right. Yes.
Are there problematic ideas and/or themes in Star Wars that would warrant apologia-esque response? I feel like this is someone who has Paul mentioned Star Wars on their bingo card.
Well, they paid $5 for the privilege, and you just did.
Problematic ideas and/or themes. I mean,
here's the thing about being problematic. Everything's problematic to somebody.
Yeah, I suppose so. There's themes. The whole, I think there was the theme of flipping the Jedi from being good guys to weird, like, religious zealots in a way. I mean, maybe that was always his intent. But then was fine because he, like, so you had Ben Kenobi in the original, and then in the old one you find out that there's this weird order that values their own that values prophecy and legacy and, like, rules over, like, evaluating situations and caring about harm, which I think is problematic. But then you flip that and it's like all of a sudden, oh, now we're Clone Wars, and now everything since then has tried to keep restoring them as heroes. And I think, yeah, that's all problematic. Anyway.
I don't think so. Counterpoint. We'll get
Yep.
it. I don't believe that, in my opinion,
Mhm.
the Order coming is. I mean, it's a simplistic story. It's
Oh,
you
sure.
know, heroes and villains and good. So you take it for what it is. But I don't think depicting the Jedi in that way or the Old Republic in that way is problematic, because I think it is and then this all fell apart. I think
Oh,
it's a good
gotcha.
show.
It was
You have
cautionary tale.
it's it's like we have
Right,
the
right, right.
stratification and the Osphate, it's like they, like you said, it's like, and the rules became their own thing, and it made it possible for somebody to come in and and now we have an empire, right? You want
Right.
empire?
So if
I think an empire, right?
that's true, we went from theocracy to
Mhm.
dictatorship. So okay, all right,
Dictatorship, right? So
fair
I
enough.
think it is effective as a. I don't think it's holding this up as like this is an ideal. It's like, well, and I don't particularly think that was George's intent or that's the moral he was trying to tell or go, but I think it is a good
So
example of, right.
yeah, weirdly, when I was there, it was this 6 year between an episode. So not the start of episode 1, because I don't have insight into his details, but it was a very politically tumultuous time in the States, and I feel like George's feelings about the matter was like changing month to month, and the story
Mhm.
kind of reflected that. It's kind of like, oh, there's
Yeah.
messages all over the place here, because he was deliberately like Newt Gunray was supposed to be like Ray Gun, right? Like it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was,
It's Newt Gingrich and Ronald Reagan, right?
yeah, right. He was deliberately pulling figures, but it's like, well, what are you trying to say about these figures? It's I don't know.
Yeah. And there's also nothing really about them that's like,
Yeah,
other than the name, it's like this in no way the is it Nemoidians, or that's the
yeah,
whatever
the
guy? It's like,
Nemoidians, yeah.
there's nothing about their mannerisms or that would remind you of any of these prominent Republicans at the time were
Right.
going, other than it's like, well, they're bankers and capitalism's bad, I guess.
Yeah.
So okay, well,
Yeah, and there's the other weird part about George, like he was this anti-capitalist billionaire, which was also just
yeah,
weird,
yeah,
but who absolutely like spent a disproportionate amount of time trying to figure out how not to pay tax, but would give massive amounts of money like to charity and overpay like health benefits and things like that. He didn't need to do. Like it was a
Mm.
dichotomies, just weird all over the place. Not dichotomies, but contradictions, I should say, all over the place.
I
All
know
right,
people are coming.
carrying
Anyways,
on.
back
Mars
to Richard
and
Hoagland.
To
Moon.
the moon is to find out knowledge and
To the
expertise,
moon,
which
Alice.
I think must
To the
exist
moon.
there in some archives, plural, that is at a level below the level of meteorite bombardment and devastation we see, because from other indications, I think that things probably go down as deep in the moon as they extend above it in terms of the photographs that we've been analyzing.
One of the reasons I brought that up or set that up, Rich.
So he feels like he can determine how deep into the moon these structures go based on these surface photographs.
Yeah, and hyperdimensional math.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Super chat from Limited Light, thank you. I'm not living on the moon, but soon you will see GE's interview of me showing redeemed Zoomer can't math. Okay, I think that's a plug for a video on a different channel.
There are no other channels, Paul. I don't understand what this means.
Well, there are other channels. They're just not broadcasting live right now.
That's not what you told me before.
No, other channels exist, Dave. We're the only thing on YouTube right now.
Well,
But when we're not here, YouTube still shows things.
I thought they just showed our old stuff on a loop.
No, I'm
you know
afraid.
What's been delighting me all week?
Yes, what's that?
Just anyone who's got Dave Tells an Unrelated Story, tick it off. I do.
Yep.
So
All right.
currently it is the 30th anniversary of the premiere of Space Ghost Coast to Coast on the Cartoon
Okay.
Network.
Okay.
And so on their YouTube channel, they have just been constantly streaming ad-free episodes of Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh, okay.
Whenever I'm bored, I just, because I used to love that show. Yeah, just throw it on there. Watch a little. I assume they paused it now because we're on, but
Right. But, yeah, presumably.
Space Ghost.
It is
Coast to-
because
Yeah, why did you set that up?
I
Art?
set that up. I set that up because if we're looking for motivations to keep something secret, if the answer is that we're going to get wiped out, there's going to be a polar shift, and according to this physicist, that would produce 800-mile-an-hour winds, it would literally bury this civilization, just about any traces of this civilization. The Earth changes that would occur and so forth would devastate it. He says there are prior civilizations, and they are literally buried, down very
but
far.
I don't quite understand the connection with the moon.
Well, the connection is that some prior civilization
Right.
may have constructed the things that you're seeing on the moon.
Okay.
And that, in fact, as you follow the logic, the question is what happened to that civilization.
Okay.
It then becomes apparent that, another polar shift is coming, and that's
well,
not...
wait.
It's not good news.
What we're looking at is and now we're really at the boundary of speculation.
Yes, I understand.
Remember, we're looking at they're very good photographs. We're seeing detail down to the order of meters, all right, feet on these photographs. One of our geologists believes that some of the photographs that I'm showing are the footings in the northwestern area of the actual dome. That the erosion has been so severe that we're now seeing the foundations. What we see are mile after mile after mile of absolutely parallel double craters, all aligned with each other in 3 dimensions. Oh, did I mention that this stuff is made out of glass?
How can you know that?
Because you can see through it. Glass has a certain refractive index, and as you change the angle, there are predictable laws called Snell's laws of refraction and reflection, and this stuff is built out of glass.
I remember, Richard, after they bought...
Are you hearing a bit of the ticking?
Yeah, I am hearing the ticking.
All right, we need to do the ticking refresh. I forgot that was on this episode. I guess I could have redone the episode if I'd forgotten. Don't know what the...
Well,
Well,
we had a lot of
we're
things
on
wrong.
the... You get what you get sometimes with our show.
Paul,
Yes, Dave?
can't always get the show you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might get the
Get
show
what you need. Get the show that you need.
But you probably won't get in here.
Yeah, that's right.
Very, very outside perspective.
still
When
there.
you really get into the papers, and I have now spent a year and a half going
Last
through
time
the
I fixed
papers,
it.
there are wondrous clues that in some of the material returned by the astronauts, we have actual samples of beaten, smashed.
I'm going to try something else here. One sec.
Try something. While you're doing that,
Yep.
I'll let fun game for chat. You can vote. Should I drink next a Innocent Gun original, wonderful Scottish beer, or a Waterloo Brewery Tart Cherry Radler? Vote 1 for Innocent Gun, 2 for Waterloo Tart Cherry. We'll do a rough, unofficial, non-scientific poll. And as always, I will endeavor to please the people. The people, Paul.
The people.
Topology.
stuff
Yeah.
because of the weird chemistry, the weird isotopes.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, these things are weird.
All right, here's a relative facts, perhaps. Several years ago, comes from Phoenix. I heard from a source that I cannot disclose, of course, that sonar buoy-type detectors were put on the moon. At a later time, a hard landing was made in the vicinity of the buoys, and an echo was detected that would indicate the moon was not solid. Does your guest have any knowledge of that incident?
Okay, very perceptive.
Was that a fax? That was a fax.
There we go. Art got a fax.
Yeah. That's the one. Art got a fax. I got that one.
I don't have that one.
Let me try to, again, do this in context. They weren't sonar buoys. What they were seismographic stations
All right.
designed to measure moonquakes.
Right.
We're basically talking sound waves through the moon.
Yes.
I mean, a seismograph is a sound wave detector through rock. And when you have an earthquake in China, during the Cold War, we put up a lot of networks of seismic instruments around the world to kind of catch the Russians to see if they were banging off nuclear tests as part of, the violation of the Test Ban Treaty.
Yes.
Now we have all these neat seismic arrays, and we have computers, and we can do 3D tomography, kind of X-ray, sonar, seismic X-ray of the interior of the Earth using this technology from the Cold War. Well, we
We have a
That's
super
it.
chat.
Oh,
Sorry.
There it is.
Message from my Huskies. Bring back Bella. Well, Bella has went from active to napping. Oh no, she's got her head up. She's guarding the house again. Fair enough. What were you going to say?
Innocent Gun won the unofficial poll. It was a close one. It's a close one.
Took a few instruments, somewhat primitive. The principal investigator was a colleague of Dr. Cornett at Lamont Doherty, a guy named Dr. Gary Latham, who I met at CBS when I was Cronkite's science advisor back in the days of the Apollo program.
Right.
Very nice guy. He had a team.
I feel like that is the equivalent of Paul mentioned Star Wars. It's like, hey, you know, I worked with Cronkite, right?
I worked with Cronkite. You might remember him.
Yeah.
Ooh, we might get to the...
Drop that into conversations. Yeah.
When people start talking about the sounds and the seismic waves on the moon and the collision and the test, that's always a lead into the artificial moon or hollow moon.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah. Arguments often come up in those. So we'll see.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Scientists stretching from Rice University to MIT, and I think even a couple over in Japan. And they fielded about 5 or 6 instruments in various places around the moon during the Apollo program. The Apollo 11 astronauts left the seismic instrument, the Apollo 12 astronauts, so on and so on. Some of them lasted for the full program. Some of them, crapped out 2 weeks after they were left. The Apollo 11 instrument died about 2 weeks after the astronauts came home, I think. But they were powered by a nuclear battery, and they basically ran until NASA turned the whole network off for some mysterious reason. I mean, they claimed they couldn't afford it. You know how much it cost to run the Apollo seismic network and all the other instruments that were left behind?
How much?
$300,000.
Fuck, I was way off. I'm terrible at this game.
You're not. The Price is Right is not your thing.
I didn't go over.
That's right. It's true.
Yeah.
That's the main point. Yep.
Yeah.
You still got a chance. Just bid $1.
$1.
A year.
Why in the world would they turn it off while it was still...
300. I'll tell you why I think, Art. It's because the seismic data is a major clue to artificial structures on the moon. Your listener, with his facts, is onto it. Let me try to explain this, because this is important, because we have not only looked at the pictures, we've also looked at all of the other correlative data sets, all of the other, instrument readings and observations, and we've got one hell of a picture, which is converging on, we've got it. We've got it nailed. There are things there that are not natural, and they're large, and they're extensive, and they affected the seismic instrument readings. And this is how it worked. During the several...
Did you have a comment there?
When he said large, I was just making a dumb joke.
Yeah.
So it doesn't... Okay, well... So I haven't heard anything. I don't know if he actually believes in an artificial moon. It doesn't sound like it. He believes in giant, structures on there, but built on an actual natural body. That's certainly the impression I'm getting. Feel free to disagree with me.
I think I would agree. I'm losing. Maybe it's because we keep interrupting him. I'm losing the thread a bit on how this is an answer to Art's question.
It's, I think, really
like Art's question. Art's question was essentially, how do you know, right?
Yeah.
And his like, how do we know is like,
I feel like, so I get, so he's trying to say, like, so there were, this is a real thing. Like, there were seismic tests done on the moon. He set up seismometers, and like when things would hit the moon, they would measure, how long does it take waves. And it was a way to try to, as seismic, does on Earth, it's like, well, how do you figure out what's a mile below the surface of the Earth? You can't dig down that deep or go. So it's, you set off explosives on the surface, and the seismic waves go and bounce back. And then there's things we can learn from studying those, the waves, right? The things,
right.
Or if there's, when an earthquake or a big volcano happens on the other side of the Earth.
It's essentially, it's sonar-ish, right? I guess
sonar-ish. It's echolocation. It's very much that same principles, right? So there was the same kind of thing. Well, we know asteroids, meteorites hit the moon all the time. So when boom, 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 they do, we can read various things around the moon. You get the locations. You see, well, what, how long does it take the wave to hit here, what echo, and we can get some clue as to the internal structure of the moon. That was the idea. So he is saying, well, we know this is thing because, these seismic waves has revealed large underground structures that they don't want you to know about. I think that's what he's trying to say, but he's
Right.
excited.
The notorious they.
Mhm.
Super chat from Brain Cramp, longtime friend of the channel. Brain Cramp had a very long week and got to get some sleep. That's not correct. I'll catch the rest tomorrow and have a great show, Paul and Dave.
We're gonna.
Appreciate.
Also, you missed the super chat from Aaron Colson.
Uh-oh. Aaron Colson. Oh, there it is. If one is using Cronkite as a pickup, will he be successful? Depends. Oh.
I see what you did there.
It's an adult diaper joke, Dave.
You dog.
Fortunately, they've never been a sponsor of the show, so.
No, and they never will be. That's just gonna throw that out there right now.
That's good.
I mean, I guess never say never. There might come a time when
I'm hoping, Dave, that our demographics don't tightly align with who they're trying to advertise for.
I'll say this: as long as I'm a part of Toast to Toast, there is never.
All right. Fair enough. Oh, this is a good time for me to mention. May 20th. We are going to be having a special edition of Toast to Toast AM.
Very special.
It'll be the very first Toast to Toast with other people involved.
That is, yes, I'm so excited
because you found I forget his name. I've forgotten his name. A gentleman who deals with ancient Sumerian tablets and things.
Yeah.
And so we are bringing on the fine folk from Digital Hammurabi.
Yep.
Who are experts. That is their whole life. That is their whole thing. So, but it is going to be also, at the same time, a special charity stream.
Yes.
To support the MS walk, which Shannon and I are doing.
Yes.
So
I've supported it. Everybody should.
Put it on your calendars, though, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. We are going to be exposing real people whose livelihood, PhD studies are from ancient Sumerian texts, and they're going to have to endure. Someone.
Have they seen the clay tablet ad? Because
they have not. I haven't showed them that yet.
I haven't had the heart to break it to them. So May 20th, which is a Monday.
Yeah, it's a different day.
It's a holiday. It's a holiday Monday.
Yeah. So Josh and Megan, for those of you who are familiar with the channel, will be joining us to we're cruelly going to be subjecting actual academics to
our nonsense.
To our shenanigans. All for charity though. So that's gonna be a good time. So put it on your calendar. It'll be an early evening, but it'll be good.
They're not allowed to complain because it's for charity.
That's right. So, all right.
Years the network survived. It was allowed to run and return data.
Yes.
From 69 to 1977 when they suddenly turned them off. All right. Miles and miles and miles of computer tape were recorded of instrument readings from 5 or 6 sites around the front side of the moon where the Apollo astronauts had left these.
Remember when we used to measure data in miles, Dave? How much data do you have on this? I got miles of data, man.
I got about 22 miles. I'll tell you one thing, though. I once did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. So.
Be a lot of data.
That's right. They recorded internal quakes. They recorded external.
What's that?
It's hard to. So it's a lot of data.
It's a lot.
Meteor impacts. And during the Apollo program itself, NASA directed the final stage of the Apollo moon rocket to crash land on the moon. And the ascent stage of the lunar module, when the astronauts came back up and rendezvoused with the command module and transferred everything to come home,
I recall.
They left the ascent stage, which was the top of the lunar module in orbit. It then could be commanded by radio to deorbit and impact on the moon. And the idea was, on Earth, when you're doing seismic surveys, you need a powerful source of sound waves. If you wait for a natural earthquake, you may wait a long time. So what do you do in the oil business? You create.
Super chat.
I mean, this is exactly what I just said. Yeah. But Melody Kate. $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. A real holiday, yay, or a Canadian holiday? Well, joke's on you, Melody Kate, because it's actually both. I believe it's Memorial Day in the United States of America, and in Canada, it is Victoria Day. Is it not? May 20th.
Yeah.
This year.
Now
Where
those
we
don't.
celebrate the second greatest queen who's ever ruled our fair nation.
Speaking of woke, Dave, did you know
Yeah.
that Britain has a male queen now?
They did a gender swap.
They did a gender swap.
Gender swap the queen in an attempt to
My whole
pander.
life they've had a queen, and
Yeah.
suddenly, boom, just the dude can do it. Anyway,
Not just your whole life, your friggin' parents' whole life. It's
sorry,
been
my parents.
a long bloody time. Yeah.
So Melody, just FYI, so Victoria Day and Memorial Day are sometimes on the same weekend,
Yes.
and sometimes not. But this
I
year
don't
they are.
know. I don't know the rules for Memorial Day. Is it a specific date, or is it so Victoria Day is the third Monday in May, whatever that happens to be.
Yeah, the Victoria Memorial Day must be slightly different because sometimes it's the same and sometimes it's not. So.
Oh,
Don't
wait,
remember.
Kevin Hitch's Memorial Day is the 27th. Well, did we
Oh, so okay, so it's not even. So okay,
It's
they're
not
not
even
the
a
same
holiday.
this year either. There you
all
go.
right, so it's not a real holiday. It's just a
So
Canada holiday.
it's the America holiday, America
Yeah.
Day.
God
You
bless
guys
her
enjoy.
majesty.
That's always it's the weekend, the good movie, whatever the good movie of the year comes
Memorial
out.
Day weekend. Yes, that's the
Except Deadpool 3, I think, is the good movie this year.
yeah, which I'm actually very
hope.
excited to see. Isn't it? Well, I don't think we have any reason to think it won't be.
Although I feel like at the end of the year,
Yeah.
it'll be curious to think whether I think Dune 2 or Deadpool 3. I mean, those are like as different a thing as you can compare.
Okay.
It'd be like comparing, hey,
Are you asking which is going to be your favorite?
Yeah, which will be
movie
the favorite movie of
or-
the year? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway.
Well, and who knows? Maybe there'll be a sleeper hit. Maybe
Or
something's
maybe I'll hate Deadpool. We don't know.
Or I'm saying maybe there'll be something.
Or you mean
original.
some third movie
Yeah.
that we just don't even
Maybe some movie that isn't based on a pre-existing
Oh, it's
IP will
possible.
come out that it's like.
It's very possible.
While I was on the I had to fly across the country twice this week for work, and on one of the flights I watched The Nice Guys.
Oh,
It was on. It was just one of the thing on
Yep.
the in-flight movie thing, and I watched it again, and it was like, those movies still fucking awesome.
That's an awesome movie. Yeah.
It's so good. It's just so good. Yeah. Like it's hard. Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe, they just knock it out of the park. Those two.
Yeah,
are
if
so
you
good.
haven't seen Nice Guys, if you are a person who complains that Hollywood doesn't make original movies,
Yeah.
but don't watch original movies like Nice Guys.
Yeah.
That's why Hollywood doesn't make original movies.
Yes, it's because the money's in. Yeah.
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 All right. Aaron Coulson.
Yes.
Josh and Megan are both aliens, as proven by their scholarship and general niceness.
They could be
telling
Canadian.
us they've been convinced. You've been convinced to bring them on. It is possible that they brainwashed me. I will admit that I have weaknesses for both Josh and Megan, so
Yeah. But what Paul does in his private time is his private business. And if he does it with Josh and Megan, then whatever. Who the fuck are you to judge? Some people have unconventional preferences in lives, and I think it is irresponsible to. Nobody's being hurt. That's the important thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Nobody is being non-consensually hurt. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think Shannon actually posted a picture of me and Josh at a convention we were at last year. She's like, why does Paul not look at me the way he looks at Josh or something like that?
You can find somebody who looks at you the way Paul looks at
that's right. It was just apparently that's a thing. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
your own earthquake.
Sure.
You set off a packet of dynamite.
And you're right.
And the shock waves go out, and then you can listen to the reflected sound waves with this instrument called seismograph.
You can literally map with it.
You can map the underground formation.
Yeah.
So the same technique was applied to the moon, except the astronauts did not bring dynamite, although in fact they did bring some shaped charges that they set off by remote control after Apollo 17 when the astronauts were safely en route home. What they did was they would direct the
Apollo 17 had dynamite, no, shape charges, not dynamite.
Shape charges. Yeah, not
Shape charges.
dynamite.
Fair enough.
the third stages, the S4B stage, the upper stage of the Apollo stack, as it was called. Remember, you leave the Earth at 25,000 miles per hour.
Yes.
If you don't slow down, you will impact the moon at something like 6,000 miles an hour. Now, what do you think at 23?
You know, Dave, if you don't slow down.
Okay.
If you don't slow down, you're going to hit something at a high speed.
If you leave the Earth at 25,000 miles per hour, and in space, those numbers are like relative to what? And then if you don't slow down, you're gonna hit the moon at 6,000 miles per hour. What the fuck are you even talking about? What?
Right, exactly.
You know.
Sometimes Art just listens and nods his head, I think. It's like, all right.
If you say something with enough confidence. Like
vehicle
oratory.
Acting at 6,000 miles an hour would do in the way of creating a big sound wave.
Oh, big sound wave.
Exactly. So it would be like, it was about the equivalent of 11 tons of TNT, if I remember my numbers. All right? 11 tons of TNT.
All right.
When these things hit, and they were directed to land in very precise areas so that the sound waves would reach all of the seismographs.
Right.
You basically got instantaneous profile, or not instantaneous, but with the sound travels at a certain velocity through the moon's crust. So by watching the delays and which seismographs were activated first, second, and third, you get a beautiful mapping of the surface composition and velocity and structure and all that of the moon. Well, the first
you get this beautiful picture of the surface velocity. Is that what you meant to say?
Composition going. Anyways, yes. You don't get a beautiful map. You get a very incomplete map because it's 1/10 with 3 sensors. This is okay. Anyways.
First one they did this with, which was Apollo 11.
Sparrow, you would just get vague density. That's exactly correct. You would get vague density levels. That's exactly.
I have family and friends that are geologists and family and friends that work specifically with seismographs and seismology. And it is not like that.
No. It's not like, we're getting incredibly precise. We're getting we're getting fine details on the sub-basements of the dome cities.
Sacred geometry is not something that is likely to come up this episode, Scotty. Sorry.
But we you never know. I don't know if we're going to go long enough, but eventually there will be callers, Dave.
Yeah, so you never know.
You never know.
Moon rang for over an hour.
Oh.
Now, earthquakes on Earth, the wave train, the sound waves damp out quickly in a few minutes. 1, 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops.
Right.
The Earth does not resonate.
Maybe.
It does.
Maybe.
The Earth absolutely, it just depends how loud or powerful it is. Like, when Krakatoa went, I think the waves circled the Earth 3 or 4 or 5 times. Like, it went on for like an hour. And it's okay, whatever. But you know what? This guy never claimed to be a
but also
it doesn't resonate.
What we learned this year was if an earthquake goes off in New York, they don't shut the hell up about it for about a month.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems accurate.
As someone who lived in San Francisco, I was the whole New York thing was like, just shut up. Like, you guys,
just shut up. Yeah.
You had nothing happened to you. You're fine.
That is also how you have probably the same experience. Like, whenever you see like the news stories about like an inch of snow fell. And
yeah.
Or it's like,
or it got to -10 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they called to go National Guard. It's like, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just deal with it. That's what you do.
Mm.
Doesn't ring for an hour. Ultimately, when they had the network in place, one of the impacts of the S4B, the moon rang for over 4.5 hours.
The only way that could be...
No, don't say it because it's not true. You know, this is where you need mechanical engineers. The simple, dumb idea is the moon is hollow. The moon is not hollow.
That's what I was going to say.
But if there are structures...
So
we're getting very precariously close to artificial moon here.
I think hollow... maybe it's not. I thought hollow moon was...
Hollow moon has been on some of the cards. I don't know if...
Yeah, like I think it's in the list, but
okay.
hollow moon, he just said the words. So
he did. So if you have hollow moon, I don't think that matches artificial moon yet, but...
No, artificial moon and hollow moon are two different things, although
exactly.
they are often related. But yeah.
When you were a kid, Art, did you ever play on a railroad trestle?
Well, I was going to say tuning forks.
Exactly. If you know how trestle structures are made,
I do.
Large honeycomb structures.
Right.
If you get a sound wave going in a honeycomb truss structure, the waves will shuttle back and forth and be reflected.
Since the chat is now catching up on my rant about New York, I love Manhattan. Manhattan is my favorite place on earth to be. Love it, love it, love it. So Hearts of Manhattan, and I wasn't annoyed with them until I found out everyone was okay. But it was like it was the several weeks afterwards where it was kind of like I get that it was a big deal for you. Cool.
Have you ever been to you lived in Southern Alberta for a time? Have you ever been to Lethbridge?
Many times, yes.
Have you seen? So you've seen the bridge? They have the world's largest trestle bridge is in Lethbridge, Alberta.
That's correct,
and it is fucking massive. It is this huge, covers this giant valley, this railway bridge, and I can't remember. It would cost something like $13 million to make in the 20s when that was an insane amount of money. Yeah.
Is that how it got its name? It isn't. It surely can't be how that.
It's called the High Level Bridge, I believe, is what the bridge is actually called.
But how did Lethbridge get its name, even just as a?
Oh, it's possible that.
Yeah.
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. I feel like the city predates the bridge.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't tell them, but it's like it is long. It goes on and on. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a fancy shot with the lights there. All right.
Back and forth by the truss, and you have created, in essence, a standing wave reservoir.
That's right.
That will store the sound energy, and it will leak slowly out into the surrounding environment, so that if you get it going, if you get it excited, if you get it vibrating, like a tuning fork, it will.
Can you please do me a favor and run it back? Like, I feel like I miss how's this creating a standing wave reservoir? I want to give this Richard Hoagland a chance to explain.
Right, we didn't give him a chance last week. We'll give him a chance this week. All right.
Instantaneous profile, or not instantaneous, but with the sound travels at a certain velocity through the moon's crust. So by watching the delays and which seismographs were activated first, second, and third, you get a beautiful mapping of the surface composition and velocity and structure and all that of the moon. Well, the first one they did this with, which was Apollo 11, the damn moon rang for over an hour.
Oh.
Now, earthquakes on Earth, the wave train, the sound waves damp out quickly in a few minutes, 1, 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops.
Right.
The Earth does not resonate. It doesn't ring for an hour. Ultimately, when they have the network in place, one of the impacts of the S4B, the moon rang for over 4.5 hours.
The only way that could be...
No.
Yeah, you keep going.
No, don't
say it because it's not true. You know, this is where you need mechanical engineers. The simple, dumb idea is the moon is hollow. The moon is not hollow.
That's what I was going to say.
But if there are structures, when you were a kid, Art, did you ever play on a railroad trestle?
Well, I was going to say tuning forks.
Exactly. If you know how trestle structures are made,
I do.
Large honeycomb structures.
Right.
If you get a sound wave going in a honeycomb truss structure, the waves will shuttle back and forth and be reflected back and forth by the truss, and you have created, in essence, a standing wave reservoir.
That's right.
That will store the sound energy, and it will leak slowly out into the surrounding environment, so that if you get it going, if you get it excited.
No.
That's not I mean,
No.
you're not in a like the best. There is a grain of truth in what he's saying, in that if you have something like that, yes, there will be like if you have a honeycomb structure or something, yeah, there'll be like some reflection and it'll come back and it will. There
Yeah,
will be
it
some.
may well maximize the echoes.
It's not going to be some kind of reservoir that keeps.
No, you
holding
don't
the
store
this is all-
sound waves. That's
Yeah.
not a natural thing.
No, and even if you have, it's like they're going to keep losing energy every time they reflect.
Yes.
And go off. You're certainly not going to be able to permanently. Yeah. Mark Fernkoff.
Mark Fernkopf says, "Please tell 5-year-old Henry to go to bed. It's 10:30 bedtime."
Henry, it's 10:30. Man, I would love to spend more time with you, but you got to go to bed. It's bedtime, buddy. All right, so you got to go lay down. Have a good night, Henry. Sweet dreams. But it is time to go to bed. It's
I'm
past
sorry, Henry.
bedtime.
Where I am, it's already tomorrow. Like it's way past. Way
Ryan,
past.
Brian, it's still not even bedtime yet. But
No, it's
for Henry, it's bedtime.
yeah, it's Saturday here, so yep. Henry, you can watch the rest of the show tomorrow. We'll still be on, assuming that YouTube doesn't take us off for any kind of weird violations, which is also
No, what
possible.
Saturday is all right for.
Saturday night's all right. I don't know. Saturday for
I was gonna say
partying?
for fighting. For
Fighting.
fighting. Yeah.
Fighting. I'm gonna go back and watch the sponsor segment again, because that might be my favorite sponsor segment.
That one's your favorite out of all of the.
I don't know, just all the various dancing references you pulled up.
It was
Various
pretty
from lots of
good.
different
It was
songs. It was
pretty
really
good.
good. Yeah.
Well, I spent a really long time on that one.
Well, here on YouTube, the rule of YouTube is that the amount of effort is not in any way correlated
No.
to
the end
how
result.
popular it is. Yeah.
See, now I'm genuinely sad that your face wasn't on the screen, so I can see your reactions to this.
I was enjoying.
If you get it
There you go.
vibrating like a tuning fork, it will hum for a long time.
Oh, boy.
And this is what the seismographs have found. Now, let me tell you what I think happened. I think in 77, they figured out that the seismographs were literally recording with every impact of a meteor evidence of
This is what the seismographs have found. Is it?
Is it?
Richard? I know you just said that. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that maybe isn't what the seismographs have found. You know what, Paul? I'm not coming into this with an open mind. I'm being open-minded.
Well, you wanted us to give this this
fair
whole thing a
shake.
chance. Fair
Give
shake.
Richard Hoagland a fair shake, I said.
Yeah. So let's.
And I mean, in the spirit of Art Bell, in
Yep.
the spirit of everything that we are doing,
Steelman it.
Steelman it. You gotta let the, let the guy who shot probably a homeless person, but maybe Bigfoot, you tell your story in your words. I'm gonna let you present your argument.
That's right.
There's a sound wave reservoir of honeycombs on the moon, and this is what the tests are showing.
And that proves the sub basements of moon cities.
Yep. I'm gonna grant you this. I'm gonna grant you this, Richard, and we're gonna.
Well, that's right. So just to be clear, you and I are granting that honeycomb shapes store sound echoes.
Yeah. And that is the best explanation for what happened. And so, given that fact,
all right,
what can we build from there?
That's right. Therefore, what's the next? Therefore,
structures, and they turn the switch off, so there's no more data.
Incredible. One
This
more for you.
government is incredible.
One more for you. This one from California. I've got a question for your guest. Knowing that the reason for skyscrapers on Earth is due to economic competition for land in certain geographic areas, what would be the reason for a skyscraper on the moon? There is no competition for land on the moon, so it would be more economically logical to build smaller structures cover.
Okay, but I'm going to say the counterpoint to this, my guess is the dome is only so big. So if you want to build in the dome, there is actually land scarcity. Yeah. That's my guess.
It's also very possible, and has been demonstrated many times on Earth, to build something really tall just because fuck you, we're building something tall. Hey, You
Oh,
want a
so this is
tower or
it's a
whatever,
Tower
right?
of Babel situation, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just building this big cool thing. Hey, everybody.
That's actually a good question. The Tower of
Yeah.
Babel. Why were they? Oh no, because they actually were. That was the stated goal. Was they were going to reach the heavens or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Vanity projects, as they call them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I think that's an instinct that a human nature can easily understand. It's
Right,
like I'm
and
gonna
perhaps
build-
alien nature as well.
my super yacht is 5 feet longer than his super yacht.
That's right.
Now I have the biggest $10 billion boat in the world. Suck on that, children who can't afford to eat.
Timothy Harmon, friend of the channel, super chat
Friend
for
of the channel.
$5.
Mm.
Art, my next guest shot Bigfoot on the moon and dumped his body in a bottomless hole.
Oh, how I would love to see that.
That's
show.
a delicious episode right there.
Yeah, that would be chef's kiss.
You
Man,
know,
I really
Dave,
have
when you
my bingo card. What's
when you and I are still doing this show 40 years from now from a senior's home,
you think I'm going to be alive 40 years from now? You're
when we're both going to be alive, it'll be great, and
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and we'll just use we'll be able to use the AIs, the various AIs, and say, hey, make us an Art Bell show.
Yeah.
And I think Timothy Harmon's is the first. Yeah, it'll be someone who shot
Yep.
Bigfoot on the moon and
Give us
dumped their
the
body in a
Naked Art
bottomless
Bell
hole.
show, but yeah.
Yeah, mash up all those episodes, and it'll create it in 5 seconds
with a sponsorship ad by
with
Pants.
sponsorship ads. That's right. Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
all be good.
You got to be. That's the trick to the prompts, Paul. Be specific.
So here's my trick with the prompts. I
Mhm.
don't think I've ever, and this is embarrassing a little bit. I don't think I've ever asked the AI for something in the LLMs without using the word please. I'm so fucking Canadian.
Wow.
That I put
Okay.
the word.
I
I always use the word please, and sometimes I use the word please. I look back. I use the word please multiple times. But this is how you
Please.
ingratiate yourself to the alien overlord, the AI
That's the guess.
overlords.
Yeah, the Skynet. You're gonna be one of the
I will be one of the.
race trader.
I will be a race trader. I will be
Yeah.
the Josephus. I'm trying to think of other examples of people who've been absolute traitors to their.
Oh, I mean, there's a million from history.
Yeah,
Do you thank Siri?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course you do.
I do.
A larger area.
Those we have found. But how about a view?
A view?
A view.
A moonscape view?
A room.
I had Google Maps up. I can't remember where I was driving, and it was like giving directions.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where it was like, in a kilometer, use the left-hand lane to turn this. And in 500 meters, use the left-hand lane to do this. It's like coming up, use the left-hand lane, stay in the left-hand lane. And I was like talking to somebody about, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, Google! I know it's the left lane. Like, Google can't hear me, but I lost my cool. I had a bad. I lost it on poor Alexa's just trying to tell me how to get to the airport, and anyways,
With a view.
A room with a view.
Choice real estate. We cannot apply conventional terrestrial late 20th century economics to this. If there's one thing I can say with
Nor can we apply like physics or logic or reason. If you're going to insist on coming in here with your rational thoughts and your apt examples and correlations and
your logic,
analogies, your various we can't be friends.
Your do-si-dos and your do-re-mis.
Do-si-do, that's right.
absolute certainty, I believe there's not very many things I can say with certainty other than this stuff is real. I can say this.
There's nothing I can say with certainty other than there's definitely structures on the moon.
I can't be certain that you are real. But the buildings on the moon with the sub-basement,
they're real.
That I got.
Yeah.
We're talking about high-rise structures, right?
Right.
Made of high-tech materials, titanium, steel, glass, whatever. They were not built by Mohawks. We're not talking about conventional terrestrial building technology. What we're looking at was done by robots.
When he said Mohawks,
Yeah.
Is
What did he
referring
mean?
to the Native American tribe or
I don't know what he meant, and it made me
people with fun
uncomfortable.
haircuts? Yeah. This wasn't built by Mohawks. Also, where'd the titanium come from? What's
So when I cut him off, what I last heard, they weren't made by Mohawks. They were made by robots.
oh, okay.
Was he inferring that like Mohawks is a slang in his world for slave labor?
I don't know, or is it just a slang term for like a punk?
Oh,
So, you know,
it was like 90 whatever, right? No Mohawk people.
yeah.
People wearing Mohawks at that point in time would have been like your punk,
Well, I mean, there was nobody
your
wearing pretty much
your
Mohawks had
skids,
gone
your
away by then.
various.
Yeah.
I feel like skids was a name we would have used for.
Yeah. But there you would have sort of like the long,
Yeah,
you know, your more the Mohawk punk movement that had sort of disappeared.
right. Your various.
Not 100%. I'm guarantee somebody could find a picture. Here's a person with a
Right, but
Mohawk.
it was your suburban punk rockers.
Yeah,
as
but it was
were.
not a the Mohawk wasn't a prominent hairstyle in the mid 90s. I think we could
No,
all
except
agree on
in your counterculture type
that.
wanted
Like
to.
counterculture had moved to like grunge and stuff by that.
Yeah, I suppose it was.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
right,
right.
like-
It was the punk
yeah.
was earlier. Yeah.
But I also I absolutely feel
By
he's
this
referring
late '90s, there was absolutely faux. There was. You remember faux hawk, right? Like that would be like
Yes,
when you.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I did. I had faux hawks.
No, really?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
because we hadn't met yet.
Because we met in like 91 or 92.
When I was in high school, Dave. When I was in high school.
in your high school. No, I didn't know you in high school. Yes.
No, I had the shaved sides that was like almost mohawk.
Yeah.
But not all the way because that's like too much.
Yeah.
And then permed hair that went high.
There
And
was
there's-
a time I
There's
was
photographic
rocking the,
evidence of this that you guys won't see.
I probably will. Next time I see your mom,
You can
I
talk
will
to my
ask.
mom, yeah.
I rocked, and I'll show this off. I'm not the 80s. I had a flat top with like the shaved sides, and, like the hair straight up, and then like cut off. I had like the Kid and Play like full on flat top. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a hairstyle I wore for a while in my sweatpants days.
Dave, you want to read this one?
I would love to read. Are we doing melody? Well, you missed one actually.
You read one on the screen.
Okay, Vishanti, friend of the channel, a friend of mine, for $2. I cast Rocco's Basilisk. Well, there you go.
I had this one up on screen, but I hadn't read it. Yes, Melody
Okay.
Kate. My son says to always say please to AI and chat apps to get better responses. It works.
Can't hurt. That's what I say. Can't hurt.
Really, the best way to get a best response you want is to be incredibly hyper specific about what you're looking for. But I do. I can't. I go back to my thing. I always say please. That's just the way my conversation goes. So.
I do not. I'm going to be first against the wall when the robot revolution
That's fine.
starts. They're going to line me up. Yeah. But then Melody Kate has super chatted again, Paul,
Uh-oh.
for $4.99.
Here we go.
Oh, heck. In my drunken state, I have revealed secrets. Don't tell anyone
Well, fortunately,
your secret.
I mean, we're the only show on YouTube right now, but it's late. Who's even up? Who's even up on a Friday? Friday's the night where people traditionally go to bed early.
That is requesting that I get evidence of your faux hawk and reveal it live.
Yeah, well,
this
you
chat.
can work on that, but I
But
won't be
ultimately,
involved.
Paul is the puppet master pulling the strings. I can have the evidence. It's very difficult. Well, I do have Twitter. Or
You
X
also
or
could
whatever.
you literally could hold up
Mhm.
you could literally hold up
You can't
pictures
stop
of
me.
things.
I own color printers. I could.
Yeah, well, you could be like, hey, here's the thing. It's I got my phone and there's the
Here's Paul in Great Church Choir with his
Yeah.
faux hawk.
So here's the bonus points if you get pictures of me with my faux hawk Bible quizzing, because those also exist.
I'm pretty sure I can get whatever. I am very confident your mom will just, if I just go and like, hey, I want to look through old photo albums of Paul, she will happily flip through
Yeah.
them and tell me stories. And if I'm like, I need to borrow some of these,
Yeah, or you just take out your phone and take pictures of them. Sure, yeah,
yeah,
you'd be good. Yeah.
the trick won't be getting your mom to share the photos with me. It will be getting your mom to stop.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You'd have to dedicate a whole evening to this
Yeah.
endeavor. Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
I will probably
Although
get
my
no
parents
photos,
my
but,
parents are delightful, so and they would serve you food. So
they would. That's like I would get a really good meal out of it
Yeah.
and have a really, really good time.
Yeah.
I love your parents. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the
I think-
scale,
We both
engineering.
got pretty lucky on the parent front.
We absolutely that is so there's lots of things about my life that if I could just design it differently I would, but my parents I wouldn't. Yeah, that's a whole thing.
If you're gonna roll those dice, we both.
If you're gonna roll those dice,
nobody on
and-
earth is perfect, but they both did the best.
yeah,
they could.
and no credit to me. No credit to me. All credit to yeah. Lucked out.
And the energy source was obviously an application of the physics, hyperdimensional physics. With those two prerequisites, robotics,
Obviously, hyperdimensional physics.
Obviously.
Just gonna casually toss that line out there. I love how this is like the third or fourth time he's done it. He's just kind of just throwing that out as like it's hyperdimensional math, hyperdimensional physics. We're just gonna go. I'm still beating you by 6. 69. Oh, Paul, I'm 69.
Very nice.
Nice try. The Dave head is 69. Very nice. I think we saw that movie in the theater together.
We did, yeah. I'm pretty
I
sure.
remember the scene with was he wearing like a slingshot?
The slingshot, the swimsuit with the yeah.
Oh, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. It was that first move, man. Yeah.
So I'm going to answer this one first.
Yeah.
Before the super chat, your parents are cool with you leaving being a Mennonite, so they are. They actively left the Mennonite community when I was conceived.
Yeah.
I think as part of like we would like our kids. So they left the colony, as it were, to go to the city to raise me outside of like being a cultural Mennonite, even though like on summers they sent me back. Like it was a whole thing. But and I don't regret any of that. Like my summers on the farm, like that's actually like I feel like that's a good thing for a kid. Absolutely. You know what? I think they might wish that I made other choices on the other thing, but that's I can't speak for them. So I would just say, but in terms of like leaving the old colony, they were the first, like they actually both went to college, which was like a huge, all their parents only went to school till like grade 5.
There
right?
is a delineation, a difference between Mennonite culture, and I am not culturally Mennonite, although I went to a Mennonite church with Paul for years, but I was not raised in a Mennonite family or tradition, and Christianity, and those are two different things in many ways. Kind of in a way, it's like there's both a Jewish people and a Jewish faith, and there's a lot of overlap between those two, but they are not the same thing. And Christianity and Mennonitism is kind of the same, right? It's like there's a whole cultural history, everything with being a Mennonite, and there's the Christian religion, and a lot of those overlap because religion is a big part of the Mennonite culture, but they are not the same thing. And they're two, yeah.
Fair enough. So I think that was a reasonable answer to a non-super chat question. That's all good. But Aaron Colson, who has sent us super chat, wants to know, has Henry gone to bed? It's Henry a dog? Is Henry, I assume this is meant to be, is Henry a dog, a child, a cat, an imaginary friend? I assumed it was a child. I guess I don't, that's an assumption on my part.
I mean, if Henry's 5 and a dog, then I feel like that's a.
I mean, my dog put herself to bed. They just decided to tuck her right out. But
Sorry,
But good
if I'm
question.
misrepresenting Vishanti, by all means, correct me. I don't want to speak for our Hebrew friends.
We got oh my goodness, we got a rain of icons here.
So many. I think people believe that putting those icons on matters in some way, that there's some kind of arbitrary score that's being kept. But I feel that there is not. That is not
Who
the
can know?
secret. I mean,
can know?
you smug. Yeah.
Limited energy. The
Oh,
idea of cost.
Well, there you go. I get that actually all the time, Vishanti, from women. I'm not wrong. They're just excited.
Yeah, that you get frankly, you get that reaction a lot.
I get that action a lot.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I'm just excited.
Is a non sequitur. It doesn't mean anything. Whoever did this was not considering cost. But it's interesting that the stuff we have found, and it's very tall, it would have the most extraordinary view of the Earth, which would be directly overhead, 80 times brighter than full moonlight, a glorious blue-green disk twirling against black space in vacuum every 24 hours.
It would be a room with a view. Richard, how many windows have you found? Or is that a silly question?
It's a silly question. It's too many to count. When you see the pictures, Art, you'll know why. This is really kind of...
Wait, are there windows?
Pictures. Yeah.
Are they windows or is it made of glass?
Well, I remember this from last time. He was talking about structures with a bunch of windows. You can see all the windows.
Right, but early in this episode, he was talking about how the structures are made of glass.
Well, the domes are made of glass.
Oh, the domes are made of glass. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The domes are made of glass, but then there's the structures which have windows.
I
Sweet
feel
Jesus,
like
Paul, it's like you're not even trying.
I feel like if I was going to make a dome for a moon city,
I always win clever.
that I would pick something not glass. Like transparent, I get, but there's a lot of transparent things that aren't glass.
Would you pick transparent aluminum?
If I could.
I thought I read somewhere or something like that's a real thing now. That somebody has actually made transparent aluminum. Maybe I'm wrong.
Did you just watch Star Trek 4 again?
Well, but that was the whole thing where it's like, hey, remember that joke thing from Star Trek 4?
Yeah.
Well, somebody actually made it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off of that. But I thought I saw on the internet, and you can trust everything on the internet, that there was like an actual formula or a real thing. It's like, yeah, no, we actually can make transparent aluminum.
So Star Trek 4
prohibitively expensive or something crazy.
Star Trek 4 is like just one of the best Star Treks. I know it's not like some of the purists hate it. That's
Michael
fine.
Madero says I'm high, which is, I'm not high.
So
Star Trek,
but
any purist, whatever. If you hate Star Trek 4, then fuck you. You don't.
But my favorite was that like everyone's so carefully trying to make sure that we're not changing the timeline, and Scotty's literally like, "Who wants transparent aluminum?"
Yeah.
and then there was literally the joke. How do we know he didn't invent it? It's like, yeah,
I know he did it. Well, I feel like a quick search on your powerful computer would tell you.
Anyway, in the original cast, Scotty was one of those characters that didn't get developed until several seasons in.
Right. Yeah.
But was a delightful addition, like as it went along.
Mm-hmm.
Not dissimilar to like Miles O'Brien in Miles O'Brien.
Yeah. When he went to Deep Space Nine, it became
Deep Space Nine. Yeah. Now the other. So now we're just off on tangents. Paul's on a tangent.
Paul's on a tangent. That's not a space. Yeah.
I saw a weird, like, kind of blog entry essay on this, on how. So people were complaining within the community that, well, Miles O'Brien was just sort of lame transporter guy on Next Gen.
Yeah.
And then he went to Deep Space Nine, and suddenly he's like the best engineer that the universe has ever known, right?
Right.
Well, this article was literally saying, we all know people in our lives who they're not going to go in a corporate job and invent something amazing, But if
Right.
you're like, my axle is broken and the only thing we can use is to fix the parts that we got here in this garage,
Yeah.
that you got that guy.
It's a
And
guy. That's
that's right.
everybody
And
has-
those are different guys. And Miles is that guy. And so when he gets spent to Deep Space Nine, where it's literally like, this is all broken, and and these are the constraints that you have.
Yeah.
That he's the guy who's like, within constraints,
Yeah.
can find this amazing solution where, like, you throw Geordi in that situation, he's just, well, fuck, what's going on? Like, Geordi needs,
you need MacGyver.
Right.
But right.
Right. And I loved this particular essay that I saw because it very much explained that character super well, and why that was not a contradiction when he went from one series to another.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
We do know people. I mean, you and I both.
We do know.
One of our best friends' father, who was the president of Love, is like, oh, he had a great business here making air compressors, and I know people that still like, I have an air compressor I've been using for 50 years that was made from a refrigerator. This guy took and went, but it's like, it's like, oh, you need to fix this car, but you don't have stuff. It's like, well, we can jury rig a timing belt out of this, and blah 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 blah, and go. And,
But if you I think we all are in agreement that if you threw Miles into, like, oh, you are now, we transferred you to Starfleet headquarters and you will have infinite resources.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not coming up with anything new here. Like, I'm not.
No. Yeah.
He's not going to thrive in that environment. So, yeah. We all know those people, or at least you and I know those people. So,
yes. I feel like anybody who, like, from a small town or going, like, everyone's got a guy. You got your guy to do this. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a plumbing guy, it's your engine guy, his friend's guy. That's where it's like, it's not a journeyman anything. No. Whoa. You take your red seal. You go over there, fancy pants.
Exactly.
It's just, this is the roofing guy. I need this roof fixed. I'm gonna call my roofing guy.
I had to get a new fence this last week.
Yeah, I heard. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I heard there was a incident when installing the fence.
It was. The incident was
the
former whoever put in the fence in the first place, which might have been the previous owners. Just decided, fuck it, we're gonna. And I don't need to go into the details, but maybe not do it in the most optimum way.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. So.
A builder from the last 20 years did something in a shoddy and fast and cheap way. What?
In what was, we came to learn later, was a show home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, show homes don't need to work for long term, do they? No, they don't.
No. That's so many. I feel like that's just kind of whatever. I'm not going to go into a big rant about the current.
My house in Calgary and my house in California were both of the kind where it's like, when you look deep and where the surface wasn't, it was like, this is held with staples, huh? Neat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, as soon as you get one level past what you see on an inspection.
And it's like, I look at, like, the house my parents lived in for many years was built in, like, the very, very early 80s. I think it was 81 or 82. I can't remember. Where they're like, well, like, code was this, but like they built it with 2x8s and double insulated it.
Right.
And it like went beyond, and it's like, this house still like far exceeds any standard for anything, and never had an issue. Like, there's no settling, there's no whatever, because people gave a shit about things back then. Yeah, that ain't the case no more. Hey, Nelly.
Hey, Nelly. So this is embarrassing. Let's look.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, we've covered 20 minutes. We've covered 20 minutes of the show.
We have made an effort, and I feel like we have actually done a decent job of letting Richard.
Yeah, more than we normally would. Although I was afraid it was going to be bad because someone else pointed out
the last half hour, but
someone else pointed that I might be further gone than I normally am at this point. That might be right. I've been. It's been a rough week, and
it has for both of us. Yeah,
and it's possible.
Not me though.
Not you. You're a rock.
Yep, I'm sober as a banker on a Monday morning.
The Constitution forbids people cruel, unusual punishment, and I am subjecting Art Bell to cruel, unusual punishment tonight.
It is because I've not seen them, and I long to see them.
You will. I guarantee you will shortly.
And the reaction from the people that you've shown all this
Overwhelming.
to...
Overwhelming. I'm even able to impress very, very skeptical New York producers. That's how good this stuff is.
So what do they come...
This is what we call in my circles a "and then they all clapped" story.
Yep.
Where
He's impressed skeptical New York producers, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
How about you show us these pictures?
That's right. Yeah. Instead of it's always one. It's all for some reason. It's always instead of evidence, I'm just going to tell you about
Everybody
the experts who
seen
patted
this
me
is
on their
super
back.
impressed. They think it's the best evidence, the most amazing evidence. This is the evidence that's convinced them forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Do
says
you
my
afterwards-
evidence is the best evidence.
and say?
Well, they're boggled because I frankly think they're more boggled by the political implications than by the technical, because they don't really understand what it means to have discovered this much stuff, this vast and this old. We don't think normally in these time frames. This is cosmic time. This is more the scale of my dear.
How old is it, Richard? Give me any. And how would you know that?
Well, you got to
Well,
understand,
basically,
Dave.
God. Yeah.
If you roughly send sound waves at it, you can
Yeah.
get back details
You
about
can-
how
You get
deep
back
into the
details how you can do some kind of spectroscope sound
Right.
wave.
and there's probably some alien coins in there with dates on them, and obviously
Oh, this is Alien Emperor. Yeah, Marvin
Yeah.
the First. So
Mhm,
we can
that's
tell
that's right.
these Martians are
We
from
could tell
the,
that because the echolocation, these sound
Yeah.
waves came back.
it's
Yeah.
from the Phobic dynasty.
Friend Arthur C. Clarke. That's why I opened my presentation at Ohio State with a reprise of 2001.
Yes, oh, really?
2001, boys and girls.
Well,
right.
it's not far from the obelisk, is it?
Well, did you know, by the way, here's a cute little thing, that Arthur's original idea for the monolith in 2001, remember the teaching machine
Of course.
with the geometry, the one
I feel like this is not going to be true.
I'm really excited. I've read a lot of Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, I
in my
know,
life.
me too.
Curious to
So
hear
I
where this is
feel like
going.
this is not going to be true.
4:9 ratio
Yes, sir, I do.
was supposed to be a black tetrahedron. You didn't know that, did you?
Where did he come up with that?
He came up with it and then rejected it because he thought pyramids were a cliche. But I'll tell you where this is going. I think that a lot of our science fiction is really Jungian collective unconscious memories, because somehow we're plugged in and some of us know
here we
some
go.
of this stuff at some deep level. And it
Oh, you know what, Paul? I'm going to open my collective unconsciousness should be on our bingo list.
Oh, it should be. Yeah. Or
Yeah. I'm
um,
gonna make a note to add that for the future. Yeah.
I also feel like
Yep. It's okay. Just
no. So Arthur C. Clarke
Yeah.
included a tetrahedron in his novel *The Sentinel*,
Yes.
which I have not read. Have you read *The Sentinel*?
I have not. No, I've read a lot
I
of
haven't
Arthur C.
read-
Clarke. I have not
Yeah,
read
me
that.
too. But I okay. I feel so. He included it tetrahedron in *The Sentinel*, not the monolith for 2001. So bullshit.
Well, maybe the original draft of 2001 did. The monolith was a tetrahedron. Like, whatever. Fine. And he's
Yeah.
like, nah, pyramid's boring. I can
Mhm.
do something. It's cooler if it's a monolith. I don't think that's some tapping into. This is some kind of racial memory of Homo sapiens that we. What you know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say. Now I actually want to. What was? Yeah, 1/4/9 is the. Yeah.
Yes,
I would just-
is the ratios of the
those
monolith.
the ratios.
Yeah.
comes out as good science fiction. Now, I can't prove that yet, but it's a hell of a model to start working on.
No, it really is, Richard. I really think that it is. The
Wait, Dave. We
Yeah.
have a super chat from
do.
Prophet of Zod.
Hey, Prophet of Zod.
Do you know
welcome back.
Prophet of Zod? Prophet of Zod.
I mean,
is one of
Prophet
my
of Zod's
just
a long-time friend of the channel. He's been
yeah. I mean, he's just one of my favorite humans, and he lives in Alaska. And
Ooh.
so, welcome, Prophet of Zod. It's probably like Wednesday. I think it's like Wednesday for Zod at this point, even though it's Saturday
no, it
for
would-
me. No, I think that's roughly
Prophet of
right.
Zod would be it'd be like
No, he's Wednesday.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand how time works, but move on.
Look, go to the channel. There's a channel called Zodanza where he does fun live streams on Thursdays.
Well, I'm
On
gonna.
Thursdays, Zodanza is the only show on YouTube.
The only stream on YouTube.
Yeah, that's why we're
If
not
you're not
allowed
watching
to.
the Danza, then what the hell are you doing with your life?
That's why we can't ever go on Thursdays because
No.
Zodanza has it booked.
I remember one time I was like, "Hey, Paul, we can't do it, and
Yeah.
I can stream on Thursday if you got time." And you're like, "We can't. That's when Danza's on."
I know, right?
Booked up.
YouTube says no.
YouTube says no.
Yep.
And we don't want to step on Prophet of Zod's toes.
Exactly. So cheers to you, Prophet of Zod. Thank you for joining us for a minute. I may not be in my best possible state, but we're good.
Physicist that I had on this last Sunday said that he believed.
Mark Fernkoff, did you see that?
Mark Fernkoff. Tornado
sirens
sirens going off for the 7th time tonight. That is a lot of times for a tornado siren.
I hope you have.
You and I lived. You still live in like a place that gets tornadoes on the regular.
Well, I wouldn't say regular. They're a rare occurrence here, but I'm more north of than where the tornadoes frequently show up. I have seen an actual tornado, and I have been underneath a funnel cloud when it was forming, when I was working construction back in the day, and there was like all of a sudden this funnel cloud started forming literally like above us, and I remember the foreman came screaming in a truck, and he's like, "Everybody, like, drop your tools and get in the back of the truck. We are getting the fuck out of here right now." And we're like, "Well, we still have like things." He's like, "No, like, you don't understand. Like, we need to go right now. This is." And it didn't. The tornado started pouring, but it didn't touch down. So we're going, but it was still like. I remember looking up, and you could see the clouds spinning and like coming down, like starting. It was like something in a movie, and you have like the clear sky right there, like that eye going, and just it was an awe-inspiring moment. It was epic. But and then we all got in a truck and just drove away as fast as we possibly could. Yeah.
And I feel like that's like similar to how most people from the prairies, from our provinces in particular, have like either bear or moose stories or both.
Yes.
Most of us also have, like, I have several tornado stories that are similar to that. Like, they're not exciting on their own, but I absolutely have like raced tornadoes.
Yeah.
Back home. Yeah. So, yeah. Now I live in hurricane section instead. So everywhere you live, Earth's trying to kill you.
That we have some sort of genetic or collective memory that is largely blanked out by the noise level of today's society, but some are in tune, and some know that a drastic change, in his view, this polar shift, is coming, and somehow collectively we feel that coming.
Well, I don't know whether I agree with it that we feel that, but I think that we may have memories of previous epochs when the environment suddenly radically changed. And what I am hoping to do with this research...
By epoch, I think he means epoch.
Okay. Yep.
Which is a time measurement. Like an epoch is a time measurement.
And not an epic like we have old.
Right, yeah.
This sort of thing. Paul, I need to run for a bio break.
Okay.
All right.
Keep plowing through.
Keep home fires burning. All right.
On the physics of those changes.
Yeah, Matthew, the audio is popping again. I'm going to reset that. So I'm at taking a mental note of where it is. We're resetting the... I'm hoping that it was something with this episode. So as you know, we are reliant on archives of art, since these are, this is a recording from 1996. Hopefully this fixed it.
The environment suddenly radically changed. And what I am hoping to do with this research project is to get a handle on the physics of those changes and simply prevent them. Now, why would we possibly be able to even consider such an awesome feat? I mean, isn't nature too big for us to handle? That's where the lunar material is crucially important, because the scale of what we're seeing on the moon art and the awesome nature of how it is distributed indicate to me that we're dealing with a physics that can handle terrestrial Earth changes, provided we get smart enough, quick enough, and apply this knowledge.
So you're saying you think something could be done even if some sort of catastrophe was on the way?
Well, we have some models, and they're just the beginnings of models, and they're not rigorous mathematical models yet. They're basically qualitative. We're in the process of trying to figure out why there should have been these Earth changes in the past, as part of our geophysics, part of the hyperdimensional physics that we've been working on to go from the monuments of Mars.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's what.
So while you're not here, yeah, put my name in the chat so that I can catch Dave. So that Dave doesn't hear that that's what happens. What?
I'm going to sit down with a Hopi and talk about. And in the sense that the essence of good science is.
What did you do? What are you trying to sell?
We're just talking about tornadoes and magnetospheres and various things.
Is that what we're talking about?
That is what we're talking about.
You son of a bitch.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
I better still be winning.
Who knows what's even happening with all the... Who knows?
Prediction. What I'm hoping will happen is I will lay out our model for what I think happened.
All right, Richard,
and
hold
they
that.
will tell me, and they'll tell me things they haven't told someone else, which confirms another part of the model.
All right, hold that thought. We're at the bottom of the hour. We'll be back. Got to get phone lines open here, Richard. All right, everybody, stand by. We'll get phone lines open coming next.
Phone lines are coming next, Dave. We reached.
There we go. Now we got the chance to hit the crazy.
Now we are in for it. Now phone lines. That's where it gets delicious.
Try something brand new today, Paul.
What's that?
Ice Cutter Vanilla Latte Stout. I don't know. Is this? Yeah,
it's coming
from Snake Lake Brewing Company. I don't even know where that is. Alberta, apparently. Brewed in Alberta. Unpasteurized, unfiltered, unregulated, in pure Alberta tradition. We don't need no revenuers telling us what we can put in our beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Time for the calls.
All right, let's go.
My guest is Richard Hoagland, and he's blowing people away this morning. No question about that. Blowing people away. Matter of fact, I've got some faxes here, and we're about to get back to Richard Hoagland. One of them says, wow, 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 in giant letters at the top. Richard, I know you're listening, so contemplate this while I do a little work. What is the single most compelling piece of evidence they have? Is it possible these reflections were just light on the camera lens itself, or perhaps defects in the film? That's one, Richard.
This is really good. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, awesome.
I got to make a note of that. I'm going to get this again someday.
So
is it possible, Paul, that this is just some kind of film artifact, or
just grain on the film, or something?
The answer is no. It is not possible.
No, not possible, because as we all know, it's the sound waves, it's the sonar, it's the whatever I don't know how we're captured. And as we know, Dave, we've learned tonight, sound waves get captured by hexagons.
Yes.
And can't get out, and they just last forever, echoing.
Sound wave reservoir.
That's right.
But I think we all know, Paul, when he's talking about, film artifacts, camera artifacts, what he's really referring to, that's ghosts. So I'm just going to go ahead and tick that.
No, it's not.
What?
No, not ghosts.
You're going to come. Oh, it clearly is. Again.
It's not ghosts.
Again.
No.
You're absolute overriding just the things you will do to win this game. It's a gentleman's sport, but it's fun. There's no money involved.
You are overreaching, my friend. Overreaching.
Okay. You know what? It's your show. Let's just
Dear Art, sorry if I missed it, but has your guest said anything about a possible relationship between the structures on Mars, the moon?
We need to make a music video of my theme song comprised of clips of you and me dancing during the breaks on
you
this
have
show.
A theme song?
I've been meaning to play it for you later. It's something I've been playing around with.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And our own pyramids in Egypt. Richard and Art, we've done quite a bit of reading and studying of the Hopi Indians and what the white man calls their myth and legends. There is one that is there.
I don't have that's in there somewhere. Art talking about aren't talking about Egypt.
Oh, yeah, that absolutely is a square. Yeah,
Yeah.
he likes to use that one.
Very interesting, considering the Hopf contacted you and
I
want to meet
never
with you.
did SJL. I did once get a chance to try the Sam Adams Utopias once. It is something.
The legend talks about when the eagle is seen on the moon, then they would know that the time of the present world was drawing to an end. Since our first lunar landing craft was named Eagle, I find this fact linked with your new information about the structures apparent on the moon to be very interesting, and wonder if this fact would have anything to do with the request of the Hopi to meet with you. From KSD in St. Louis, is it possible our guest...
Isn't it? Can we? Is it? Are we getting in trouble even me saying that song?
No, you can say that. You're good.
Yeah. Because that's very definitely copyrighted music.
Yeah, but I think whatever versions that we can slur out at this point in time is gonna be fine.
Yeah, we're just talking over it anyways. So
Yeah.
Who cares anymore?
Has been keeping a lid on this because it's the most benign aspect of the ET cover-up. And we'll get back to Richard Hoagland and possibly the answer to some of those questions. And I promise you.
I mean, you don't have to win a trivia contest to get a toast-to-toast tumbler.
That's true.
They're available all the time to anybody on the wonderful, Apologia store. Let's go in there. All you need is money. And let me tell you a thing about money, Paul.
Yeah.
They print more every day. They just make it. So whatever, just buy it. Just buy a tumbler. I mean, you're crazy, not in this economy? Are you kidding me?
This economy, that's right. Yeah.
You're crazy not
How
to.
can you afford not to?
How can you afford not to?
Yeah.
Phone calls. There has been so much information to get out. It's been hard to get to the phone lines. And also there right now is Richard Hoagland. Did you hear a couple of those faxes, Richard?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so if you haven't already marked off your art kits of facts, then you're not even playing the bingo game at this point.
He's got a couple, yeah.
Did you like any of the questions?
Oh, very interesting. Fascinating question. Which one do you want me to answer first?
Well, all right. The most single compelling piece of evidence that you have, and could it have been light reflections?
Well, obviously, this is the first thing that we try to eliminate. And what I want to stress is that we have now gone through 3 different types of missions to find photography that overlaps the same area.
Yes.
We have the Lunar Orbiter, which was a mission that basically, there were 5 missions in the Lunar Orbiter series. They photographed basically all of the moon, both in overhead projection looking straight down as well as in perspective.
All right, well, that's a good answer. In other words, light reflections maybe once but not 3 times.
No, and we have multiple geometries, multiple lighting, multiple missions, multiple technologies. That's why I say we got it nailed.
All right, relationship between the structures on Mars, the moon, and our own pyramids.
The most striking
Okay.
Here we go.
is the symbol, the sign that led us to this site. We have an 18-mile crater called Oort that's located about 7 degrees north of the lunar equator. The libration can bring it down to where it's at the sub-Earth point or close to it at some times. And inside this crater, there is an diameter equilateral triangle. And around the rim, there are 3 bright portions that when you connect those edges, you get a double inscribed equilateral triangle, one within the other. And that, of course, is the mathematics represented in the monuments of Mars and at the Giza Plateau and in many ancient sites around the world in other cultures. So in the sense of there being a connection, that starting point for the connection.
All right.
Somebody knew.
So he's taking credit for anyone who's ever used the triangle?
So, yeah. Okay. So I've seen, I know what he's talking about. I've seen.
Yeah, but I think we covered it. We literally covered it last episode, right?
Yeah, we showed the one. It's very much, in my opinion. Oh, 8th tornado. Mark, be careful out there. Paul and I are joking, but tornadoes, you don't fuck around with them. If
No.
Because they can. They go. No, we haven't. I'm sorry, Darren. This is not sacred geometry. Although it actually is towing the line, but it's not. The pictures he's talking about, you can see this is, it's very much in my opinion, a Bible code or a numerology thing where it's like, if you go in looking for this pattern, you'll find this pattern. You can find something that will correspond. Like, yeah, can you blow up the picture on the right edge side there, that top right one where it shows the triangle etched on?
Let me see where it.
Maybe
Yeah.
open that
So this one.
image in a new window so we can see a bigger vision of the right. It's like
This thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the things you're finding, and I've seen like a bigger, higher res blown up, and it's like if you're desperate to find I think it's generous to describe that first shape in the moon as an equilateral triangle, but whatever.
Right. Yep.
And then to find it's like, well, here's like some points that will do an extra one. It's like, I guess there's fucking things all around the edge of this thing. You can find points that will match what you want if you ignore everything. Like if you're just looking to superimpose this shape on something, yeah, you can find data that'll match that if you're, anyways.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. It's like if you just throw if you throw pebbles on your floor, you absolutely every single time will be able to come up with a picture of something.
Yeah. It's like, why are those 3 points on the outside of the crater
Right.
significant and not all
All
of
the other craters? Yeah.
the many other dozens of ones you can see in this picture? I'm circling it with my mouse on my screen as if that means anything to anybody at home. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's the this is why I have a deep love and adoration for like the Bible code or any numerology, because I just love the ridiculousness of it, that you go in with this and you're like, well, it's clearly this. It's like, it's clearly this if you have already decided this is what it is before you even came on. But you can find whatever pattern you want. The Bible code is a perfect example. It's like how many you can find, like you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't know, maybe 1 million characters in the Bible in English. Like I have no idea how many it is.
right.
In that large a data set, you can find basically any pattern you want if you go in looking for it, right? Like,
right. If you run the Bible code algorithms against any literary work equally long, you absolutely find
you'll find Fibonacci sequence or references to pi or whatever. Looking at it's like, okay, good job, you nailed it. Anyways.
Same math and geometry and physics.
Is it possible our government has been keeping a lid on this because it's the most benign aspect of the, quote, ET cover-up, end quote?
Yeah, I think I know what the reader is, or the author of that fact is trying to get at. Look, the reason that we're going to get viciously shot at for this, and it's already begun on the internet, people are saying awesomely weird things about us, is because as long as you can keep this investigation in airy fairyland, not in dreamland, airy fairyland, you don't have to confront the idea the human race is not alone. It is not a science. It's stuff on the back cereal boxes, in the tabloids, the National Enquirer. It's not science. As soon as you have...
Let me tell you...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask what the meaning of your shirt is. But...
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
It is a topical shirt. Although I'm sure someone in chat will recognize it and know what it is.
Okay.
We'll let people guess.
So what were you going to say?
So let's pretend, Paul, hypothetically, all right, you are high up in the administration, possibly the director or somebody else at NASA, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're a government organization dependent upon Congress for the size of your budget. You have things you want to do, but you would like to get more money from the U.S. government for your organization.
Far-fetched, but okay.
Right? Hey, you know what would be a really, really good way to get more money and do whatever stuff? Demonstrate evidence that there's artificially created structures on the moon. Well,
ooh.
Hey, would you like $1 trillion? Here you go. Because there is now literally no budget. There is no upper cap to the amount that we will spend to figure out what's going on here. You're set. You got the golden ticket, Charlie. You're good to go. You found an alien skyscraper on the moon.
Right.
Guess what? you just hand in budgets for the next 15 years, and
Right.
you're getting signed. And everybody else on Earth, all the other nations, they're also on board. Everybody's on board with like, holy shit, we need to figure this out. You people who are the experts on this, yep, you get whatever you want, anything you want. We're going. All of the things, space stations, orbital station around the moon, all of this. Yeah, we're doing all that. But no, what we're gonna do is send fake film frames to
That's right.
crazy to hide this.
We know that some of these frames totally implicate us, but we're still gonna send them out, even though we're angry about it. Like we're pissed
though
that
we're
you guys
angry
have figured
about it.
out which frames are the good ones. But we'll
Uh-huh.
still. Mhm.
Yeah, there we go. There's about Sparrow's a sissy, Scuzz Bopper. People are figuring it out. They know what this is. This is a Fallout shirt, Paul.
Oh, it's a Fallout shirt. Oh, which I
Did you finish
because
the series?
I haven't even started it.
Oh,
I'm so disinterested. Is the like
you will very much enjoy it. It's one of the best written TV series I've seen in a long time. Like, it's just good. So I deeply have loved Fallout lore, played on Fallout. Lots of people I know who've never know nothing about Fallout, never played a second any of the games or anything, watched the show and just really liked it. It's just really good. Every character is incredibly well written and good. It's like, if you had told me Mike Flanagan was behind this, I'd believe it. Like, it's just everybody is interesting and flawed and realistic, and it's an extreme setting, but it's so good. You should
okay.
watch. You will very much like it.
So I haven't heard that. I've just been kind of like all I've been getting is like people who love the game.
Yeah.
Have been excited about it, and that hasn't been enough for me. So okay.
No, it's good. Like, I think even if you've never watched, they do a good job. Like, there's stuff that you won't understand if you haven't played the
Which
games,
is fine. Yeah,
but
that's
none
fine.
of it matters to the story. The actual story in the show is completely understandable and down. Like, it's
Right.
a
Like
very
I never
human story.
played Among Us.
Yeah.
And like, but that show immediately appealed to me for some reason.
I assume you mean The Last of Us?
Last of Us. Among
Yeah.
Us is a whole different thing. Last of Us, thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, for some reason Fallout didn't ever catch my eye, but based on this endorsement, I'll give it a go.
You will really like Fallout.
Okay.
The TV show. It is one of the best written shows I've seen in years. It's so good. Yeah.
Rosina writes, we're getting all the things.
All the things.
All the things. All the things are coming. I need to do a quick break, Dave. Do you want me to play art, or do you want to just interact with chat? What would you like?
We can I mean, I don't know. Do you want to
one is
I feel like let's leave it. You let me interact with chat. You go on.
You're gonna riff.
Come back.
All right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, 9th rated. Mark, you be careful with that. And for no particular reason, everybody just say Dave in chat as much as you possibly can. Yeah. Yes, Shogun. Another. I'm loving Shogun. Although I actually probably like Fallout more because I didn't know what was going to happen in Fallout, and I know what's going to happen in Shogun because it's one of my favorite books and I've read it many times. No, Scotty, it's not Sacred Geometry. I apologize. We've also not yet had a caller complaining, although if we get into callers here, we probably should. Dave's not here, man. So, y'all like stuff? Oh, playing Shadowrun. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with Shadowrun. I love Husband Hotel is a lot of fun. I love cyberpunk themes and always have, but I find Shadowrun is a little too rules heavy and a little too when you have your runner going and everybody else just like sit in the van for a while. Follow costs $2.99 a month, and I'm not made of money. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rosnia. What else? So I have not watched any of the X-Men 97 yet, and I really need to because I was a big fan of the old X-Men, the actual in the 90s X-Men cartoon. Big X-Men fan. Huge fan of Shadowrun.
X-Men 97 is probably the best thing I'm watching these days.
Everyone says it's really good.
Yeah, it's really. Again, I did not watch the original. Like that was.
I watched a lot of the original,
and so no, it's
I refused to watch it because they made Rogue's butt smaller.
Look, there's lots of nice butts in the show if that's what you're looking for.
Yes, Mark Ferncop. Like The Last of Us, Fallout is enjoyable for people who have zero knowledge of the content. They assume going into it that you do not. Yeah.
Looks
if
like
you do, there's things you will pick up and enjoy, little nods and things, but you do not have to have any familiarity with the Fallout universe. I hit 100. You don't. I mean, in theory. In theory,
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
Dave the co-host. Sorry,
but Fallout costs $2.99 a month, and I'm not made of money. Is that the game? The show doesn't cost.
Well, it's Amazon Prime. I don't know.
I don't think can you discreetly watch just. Can you discreetly pay for just the show? I don't know.
I just have Amazon Prime, so I don't because I order shit off Amazon all the time. So
there's Amazon.
When I first started doing it, when Amazon Prime Video first came out, like it was garbage. It was like, hey, you want to watch a bunch of Turner Classic Movies? No, there's actually really good shows on Amazon, and it's like, hey, I get this for free along with my Amazon Prime subscription. Well, hot damn.
Right. Because I live in I live in the boonies and the sticks, as they say, Dave.
Yeah.
And so, if it weren't for Amazon, I wouldn't I wouldn't get stuff.
You'd have to go to stores and see other real
I'd have to drive hours to buy like normal things that other people take advantage of. So, so the Amazon driver knows our house well, but so I would definitely have Amazon Prime, whether there was TV shows involved or not.
Yeah.
But
I had Prime before they really had TV shows. And
right, exactly.
Now it's just happy icing on the cake.
Exactly. Like The Boys and other cool things.
Boys is so good. I never really Yellowstone's on there too. I never got into Yellowstone. Did you watch Yellowstone?
So Yellowstone, I did watch it. I believe it's moved to Paramount Plus now.
Could be. Yep.
I watched the first 4 seasons of Yellowstone.
There's 5.
Yeah, I get why people like it. It is a right-wing circle jerk, as it were. It's like if you
I watched the first season. Like it is right, but it's also it's old school West, like you call it right wing, but it's just like the get off my land. This is my
I guess, but it's also like the hero's the guy who I had a gun, so this solution was solved. There's a lot of, and also First Nations people are the problem, and immigration is a problem. It's just So it's a great show, but if you think about it, it's kind of like, oh, this is all like right wing agenda, stuff, which is fine because there's others, like, as we know, all the Marvels, they're trying to make us, they're trying to make us all lefties. The Marvels with their
why do you want a Marvel? Why do you want a Marvel that's all women?
That's right. We got the Marvels where the entire cast is black without exception. We got the Marvels where the whole cast are the women's.
A Marvel with all black casts.
We got a Marvel. That's right.
Just again, what product do you believe, sir? This company. I'm genuinely curious to know. Please tell me, explain to me what it is you think this company does. What are you selling to the consumer?
So lest anyone get the wrong idea, I do not. I not loved. I really enjoyed Yellowstone, and its politics did not bother me. And I actually sometimes agree. I'm not well defined when it comes to. I'm a Canadian more than an American, where like I can't be pinned down on this polarization that the Americans have.
No.
Like I legitimately have no idea who I'm going to vote for in the next Canadian election, because none of the parties represent my what I would like.
I very much feel that too.
And we have like 7 parties, and none of them are like, hey, yeah. So, yeah, my political views are not well represented by the polarization of the Americas. But anyway, so I wasn't making a commentary that Yellowstone was neither good or bad based on its right-wing leanings. It was just something I noticed and couldn't stop viewing, much like Reacher. Reacher I was enjoying for the first season.
First season's so good. The second season,
and then the second season, I felt like, oh well, you have like you're preaching to me here.
Yeah. It was just lazy. Right?
I think also it was just not as well written.
Yeah. The Expanse is one of the best sci-fi shows I've seen in life. Expanse is one of the great sci-fi shows of all time. Have you watched The Expanse, Paul?
I have watched some of The Expanse, not all of The Expanse.
That's shame on you.
I know. I'm caught up on Foundation and the Shogun and the various things,
but not The Expanse, huh?
But have you watched For All Mankind?
Not all of it. I'm not caught up on it.
Okay.
I haven't watched the last season of For All Mankind.
No, me neither. But that's also a good one.
It's very good.
Yeah.
But The Expanse is better.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
bona fide, replicable, agreed upon extraterrestrial artifact.
Yes.
Suddenly, ETs go from being, sighting material to being New York Times material and general science discussion.
Are we close to that?
At that point, we finish the thought.
All right.
At that point, all of the pent-up weirdness around UFO stuff comes falling out of the closet. And that may be a good reason why someone wants to keep that closet door nailed very firmly shut.
Predict for me, Richard, how close are we? When will all the blocks come tumbling down?
Well, given that we're getting about 99% of the scientists who see this data jumping up and down and freaking out saying, oh my God, look at that.
Right.
I think it's basically governed by the economics of our distribution of the data to people who need to see it.
All right. That's
and
a good
at
answer.
some point there will be, this avalanche is going to take off by itself.
That is
we will not be able to control it.
All right. Very quickly, because I promised the lines. When the eagle is seen on the moon, part of
really interesting facts. Really interesting. It isn't quite as mysterious that. I have had my eye on the Hopi for some time because I've been looking at the geophysics. I have a very, how should I say?
Yes.
I'm in chat right now. Very much, but I don't want to.
One utilitarian view of the usefulness of science. I think science should be in service to mankind, to humankind. And the idea that we could develop a physics, decode these monuments, code of physics, and then not put it to use seemed to me kind of silly.
Right.
And as we went through this, I began to realize.
Mr. Hoagland, not a doctor, by decode these physics. If we could decode these physics of these structures, what exactly are we? Okay. Yeah.
I'm anxious to get to actual callers as opposed to responding to faxes vaguely.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep my mouth shut. Let the good times roll.
There were certain predictions in the physics that said that because of the current configuration of the solar system, and as you go through certain geometries of planets relative to each other and the sun over very long period of time, tens of thousands of years, you might run into problems. And then I began to look at our kind of
not a long time. Is not a long time when it comes to the mechanics of the solar system. There are certain predictions. What predictions? What the fuck are you talking about, Richard? That's the solar system might be in problem in 1,000 years. I would love to hear.
I feel like you're not giving Richard a chance, like you brought us here for.
You're Paul. That's a valid criticism, and you're right. I need to let him present his case, but he's starting to piss me off.
depth of this and reflect on, the Hopi prophecies and the other ancient material from ethnic cultures around the world, and I began to see a possible relationship between our prediction and their data. And then when I met some of them at the United Nations here in New York, at the one advantage of being here in New Jersey, you're close to New York, I realized I really needed to have a quiet conversation, so I arranged to get copies of the UN briefing on Mars into their hands. And when I was in Albuquerque recently, I met with Thomas Benyaka, who is the Hopi spokesperson of the prophecy. And we agreed that at some point in the near future, I would come out and spend some time. And they agreed to bring some other folks, elders together, and we're going to sit down and have a kind of a quiet conversation.
That's going to be
with no ground rules. We'll just kind of explore.
I'm going to be looking forward to hearing the results of that. Richard, we've got to go to the telephone line or they'll string me up.
Okay.
On the toll-free line, you're on the air with Richard Hoagland. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Where are you, please?
I'm calling from northern Alabama.
All right.
I wanted to tell you yesterday that I saw his video, The Monuments on Mars.
Yes.
We just rented it a few weeks ago. It was very interesting, talking about tetrahedral geometry and the 19.5 number that certain monuments seem to come to, like on the moon and places here on Earth and stuff. I have two questions. I'd like to know, will this information you have, Mr. Hoagland, be available out on video? And when you mentioned earlier something about a Mars-Moon connection that brought you there to this place, I think you said the Okhurt crater.
Right.
Is there a 19.5 latitude or measurement or something in that connection with where Mars is in this particular area that you've been talking about?
No, Okhurt lies about 7.5 north and about 1.5 east in the current lunar mapping coordinate system. It wasn't the latitude, it was this huge symbol. Okhurt is an 18-mile diameter circular feature we call it a crater. But at high noon, at full moon, when the sun...
Circular feature. Well, we'll call it a crater for you dum-dums.
You know what, Paul? With everything going, I'm willing to concede sacred geometry with it. What do you think? He's given enough. He's like, well, it's this, it's going.
Yeah, but sacred implies supernatural, right? Like he's talking about aliens. Aliens are not supernatural.
Yeah. But sacred geometry is kind of vague. Although also, to be fair, it does apply very much to the pyramids and things where there are certain numbers and ratios that are supernatural in their effect.
What I will say, there's been some chat in the chat about, who will know about the bingos and the various things. So Dave actually can check anyone's card. So like when you feel like you've got a bingo, you tell us what your card number is. So for example, my card, you can see on there, Dave's card is 21, my card's 22.
Yeah.
So you let us know, and Dave can check. So it's not all it's not purely just go by word.
Yeah, we're not on the honor system here.
That's right.
Rules.
Exactly.
We live in a society. Damn it.
There's not a lot of stakes to the bingo, but there's not zero stakes. You have to.
Yeah. So Clever is out there saying, "Oh, bingo! Like, tell me your card number, Clever."
Exactly right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And then I'll say yes, and Paul will tell you why you can't have fun.
That's right. That's
our dynamic.
That is how things work here.
Is directly overhead. The bottom of Okhurt has a stunning, perfect equilateral triangle, and Okhurt is the closest crater at sometimes to the Earth. It's almost.
Does it have a stunning equilateral triangle, or does it have a vaguely roundish triangle-shaped thing in it that you are just pinning all your hopes and dreams on?
You're telling me this isn't a perfect triangle?
That's a perfect. We can all see. I don't know what your definition of perfect is, but that's mine. Yeah. It's like whatever that terrible baking show that nailed it.
Okay. Yeah. I went for a different thing. Is it cake or not? Is it cake? Was it also
the cake or not? I love the various. You see, Weird Al had one.
Oh, I didn't know. That's awesome.
Is it cake or not? Weird Al. It was pretty funny. I think he had it on his Instagram or something. Yeah.
Super chat.
I don't think Shannon was drunk in chat tonight.
Shannon was not. I think she bowed out pretty early.
Yeah.
If you need Paul drunk in chat, you can have that one.
Paul or Dave drunk in chat is that's essentially free space.
Why
are we even trying this?
So Rosina writes, aliens are interdimensional beings, so sacred geometry. I don't see how That's not a syllogism. That doesn't make sense.
Those two things aren't
Sacred
related.
is not interdimensional. Sacred is supernatural.
Yeah.
I feel like interdimensional is very much natural still.
I feel like there's a lot of people trying to make a case for sacred geometry tonight. It must be like a key space.
Must be like, a lot of people got it.
At the sub-Earth point. In other words, you draw a line between the center of the Earth and the center of the Moon, and it has to go through or very close to Okhurt. The idea that in the middle of the lunar disk...
Yes, Dave?
I just feel like I'm about 12 better than you.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. I just have this feeling. I don't know why. It doesn't mean anything.
About a dozen? Yeah, you're about
Right. About a dozen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With a telescope, you can see a symbol that is the essence of our...
Yeah, it does look like a Dorito. It's as triangle as a Dorito is a triangle.
Dorito. It could be whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
But I think we can all understand who built Paul, who possibly could have constructed these perfect equilateral triangles on the moon. Well, there's really only one answer to that question. And, we could probably say it together at the same time. It's the Anunnaki. So I'm just going to go ahead and
No, it is not. No, that is not correct. No, not correct.
But we both just agreed.
No, we did not agree. I did not say it at the same. No,
off too.
No, that's not a thing. No Planet X. No. No magic, but real magic. He hasn't talked about any magic.
He did talk about Egypt earlier, though. I'm going to take that off.
I feel like Artsy has Art not said any folksy expressions. I haven't been listening for this one. I feel like he must have.
I can't recall one. He hasn't really.
All right.
Gone
Well,
off
so I'm not there. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Monuments of Mars and the whole physics. That was just too irresistible not to pursue, and of course that resulted in us finding what we've now found.
All right, and on the follow
transdimensional beings, though, I'm going to go. He talked about how aliens were transdimensional beings. That was a thing that came up earlier. You don't remember it. You're drunk, but that is an actual thing. This isn't a bit that I'm doing. This is. I can tell the difference between your serious voice. You're good.
Yeah, fine. You're fine.
I thought Sacred Met kept. Everybody talks about. Oh well, okay. I'm half reading this. Do you want to read it, Paul? Should I read it?
Sonic Shroom writes, I thought sacred meant kept science, even though everybody talks about it.
Not what that word is.
No.
I should read the super chats for now. I thought sacred meant kept secret, even though everybody talks about it. I don't think that's what sacred means. So sacred geometry for everybody in chat, because they keep going. Oh, if you've got aliens on your card, absolutely fucking tick that off. We've mentioned it 50 times. Sacred geometry specifically refers to, it comes up a lot in sort of like the pyramids, Greek stuff, where it's like there's certain ratios, certain numbers that reveal hidden truths about the universe when you look at them. That's the idea of sacred geometry, where it's like, well, if you look at the ratios of the pyramids to each other and blah, 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 and it reveals this, and there's like deep truths about the universe that can be divined from studying these numbers and go, that's what sacred geometry is. It's something that comes up in some crazy conspiracy theories and things sometimes. It's not really something that's come up today. I think it's probably not going to come up today. I don't think Richard Hoagland is a sacred geometry guy. Apologize for everybody who's desperately trying to get sacred geometry ticked off on your card, but it probably isn't going to happen today. Sorry. Oh, did somebody say... Yeah, Egypt is absolutely legit. Art
Egypt
earlier
I marked it off for myself and other people. Yeah, I think Egypt.
What's your card number, Scott? Tell me, and I will double check and see if you are legitimately got bingo or if you're a damn dirty liar like Paul, who won't let me tick off Anunnaki.
No, it's not a thing.
It's absolutely a thing. It's the only thing.
Well, it's a thing, but hasn't been mentioned tonight. Rosina Code of Holiness Keller writes, interdimensional demons, not beings, my love.
I love demons.
Yeah.
I love lamp.
I feel like there are both interdimensional demons and interdimensional beings. If one is true, the other is true.
Well, I mean, if they're interdimensional demons, then they're ipso facto interdimensional beings, right? Demons are beings.
I suppose so. Oh,
Yeah.
Godless Engineer is here. Godless Engineer was on this channel very earlier in the Godless Engineer. So everyone humor him. Godless Engineer thinks that he also has a show on Friday night on
I know.
YouTube, and it's
Yes.
cute. I mean, but don't tell him that we're the only show on YouTube right now. But Godless Engineer, thank you, for being here, and we sacred geometry of light existing in 99% of nothing. Anyway,
There's a lot of numbers.
Welcome, Godless Engineer.
Dave, famous. I think it's adorable that you think being related to me in any way makes you famous. I'm sorry, Scotty. I'm just a guy. Just a handsome, charismatic guy. That all the ladies be all
Richard, tell us.
Video will be available through our video distribution system. There's an 800 number, which is 1-800.
We know what now?
Nothing. Nobody's commenting on your level of intoxication. Did you
maybe
eat
you
today?
should.
I'm just curious before
I
we
haven't.
started.
No, I'm not tried yet.
That
I
would
don't know.
explain quite a bit, actually. Maybe
I'm further gone than normal at this point in time. I
Yeah.
can tell.
you're.
I can tell.
We got Fun Paul here tonight.
Yeah.
We'll see how much longer this goes on.
Yeah, it may not go as long as normal. We'll see.
Well,
424.
maybe the worst thing in the world.
No, maybe not.
0031. That's 1-800-424-0031. You
When?
ask for operator 5.
All
You
right.
put yourself on a reservation list right
Ah.
now because they don't have it yet. They will in a few weeks. And just ask for volume 3 in the Hoagland's Mars series, which will be Hoagland's Mars volume 3, the Moon-Mars connection.
When would it be in their hands in all
You
probability?
can explain the Moon Mars connection. You keep talking about it.
No, you have to call in and get in a waiting list for a DVD,
I mean,
Dave. That's like a
respect.
normal. That's how information happened in the 90s. You got on a
Don't
waiting
give it away
list
for free.
for a DVD.
Yeah, I get it, Richard Hoagland. You got to hustle. You got your grind on. Don't give it away for free. Always leave them wanting more, Paul. You want to know the Moon Mars connection? You got to buy my books. But trust me, it's gonna blow your mind, man.
Oh, they will ship first class as soon as we
Definitely.
get it in.
I'll tell you, Paul, let me tell you what the Moon Mars connection isn't. It definitely isn't some crazy ass bullshit where I looked at 2 random spots on Mars and said, "Oh, that's 128 miles apart." Well, 128 miles from the moon's pole, there's this crater, and that's the crater that I found this perfect equilateral triangle in. So clearly, this is all part of the grand design of the alien engineers that built this incredible structure.
Really pushing very hard to get it in there within the next month.
All right. First time caller line. You're on the air with Richard Hoagland. Hello. Where are you?
Yes, this is Theodore in Tacoma, Washington.
Hi, Theodore.
Hello, how are you?
Fine.
Good
Go-
morning. I was just about to use Telex to war dial you. I'm glad I didn't do that. How are you?
Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air, so go ahead.
Okay, I am not listening to the program
Well, then why are you calling?
because you told me to call.
I told you to call.
Yes, this morning. Do you remember?
Richard, oh, yes, why are you not listening to the program?
Because I don't have a radio in the house.
Oh, well, you'll have to call me later because I've got a guest.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
You're talking about the moon?
Absolutely.
Oh, I have a question. Is it true that he says there's buildings or something or structures on the moon?
All right, go listen to the radio.
On-screen callers. Here we
Art,
go.
you told me this morning to call in. All right. But I'm not listening to whatever the fuck you're talking about. We've been here.
I got a question. Yeah. You said there's buildings on the moon? Yeah. Wow.
We've been talking about it for an hour.
Yeah. I got a question for you, Paul McCartney. Remember when you said the love you make is equal to the love you take? Well, is it? Stupid.
Chris
Oh.
Farley, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? How are you, Art? Yeah. No, you're on the air. This is expensive radio time. What do you want?
I'm definitely not watching your show, though. Whatever I want, I'm not even pretending. Just not watching
If you've
your
got
show.
Art shuts down a caller on your bingo card, that absolutely, you go ahead
Yep.
and tick that right off.
Thank you, Vishanti, for the super chat. Sacred Geometry, aka what if shapes were magic?
Yes.
What do you mean, what if?
Yeah.
I don't understand the what if in that sentence.
Shapes are magic. You might have heard some bullshit about friendship. Friendship isn't magic. Friendship's an arbitrary concept. Shapes, special secret shapes the Greeks knew.
Here's the thing. Here's
And
the thing about
Egyptian.
shapes, Dave. Shapes are objective. So objective means that it exists with or without a mind. Subjective things only exist when there's a mind involved.
Yeah.
Shapes are objective, Dave. Even if all the humans and all conscious creatures disappeared, squares would still be squares.
Squares are still squares.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah. They'd also be rectangles.
On the one.
But Paul.
Yes.
Not all the rectangles are squares.
It's true. That is one of the great truisms of life.
You can see how there's intelligent life on the moon.
You can see how obviously all these the domes that are, I guess, destroyed.
Paul, you admit, you grant that all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
I grant.
Correct?
I grant this. That's correct. Yes.
So there's intelligent buildings on the moon.
Right. Dave, at no point were we doubting the existence of structures on the moon. What we are arguing here today is, do they have sub-basements? That is the question.
And
I feel like that. Right. That is the open question here. Not are there buildings on the moon? This is going to be a challenging one, Dave.
I'm going to read this one, I think, buddy. I'll take this one. Okay.
All right.
I will, out of respect for Rosina, Code of Holiness Keller, who has given us a wonderful, I'm going to round it up, $5 super chat. Pual is far too Dnurk to raid to hiss. Screed pass, scrand me as a killed.
This is where
Paul?
Dave.
Yep.
It says Paul is far too drunk to read this. Sacred shapes scarred me as a child.
I mean, that's not what it says.
It absolutely is what it says.
What it says is what I read.
That can't be correct.
You apparently I'm just not in the
because you were saying nonsense words.
I don't have the right enhanced mindset.
You were just saying nonsense words.
Although we deeply, Zena, you keep being fucking awesome.
I'm gonna reread this tomorrow, and we'll let you know what we think. Oh yeah, we do the.
Oh, did you verify if card 001 was a bingo? Okay, let's take a look.
How come your hearts didn't work? My hearts worked.
My hearts worked. I did.
Oh, okay. Did they? Gotcha.
What do we got? Artificial.
This stream is needlessly complicated. Have I ever mentioned that before?
What is the? I'm looking at card 001. I'm not seeing a bingo here. Please, by all means, tell me what row should I be looking at for a bingo. Starting to Paul mentioned Star Wars. Incorrect science uses fact. Oh, there we go. Second row, up and down. Yeah, that is a bingo. There is a bingo on card 001.
All right.
Yep. Congratulations,
card 001.
Anybody who has 001. You got a bingo. Dave tells an unrelated story stating wild conjecture is established fact. Paul mentioned Star Wars. Incorrect science used as evidence, and Egypt. All those things have happened. That's a bingo.
All right.
BINGO. NGO. Keep on dancing now because they're our sponsor this week.
All right. Scotty Orange writes, next Jurassic Park universe movie is on the moon. I don't think that's correct, but that's fine. Best impression of raptors on the moon? or Dr. Ian Malcolm's response, dealer's choice.
I mean, I can do a good impression of a raptor on a moon.
Please.
Get it? Because they're dead. Because there's no atmosphere. So they're all the water in them boiled away, and their eyes exploded, and the solar radiation killed them, and now they're dead. The end.
That maybe isn't
Coming
as
out this
fun.
Memorial Day weekend.
That maybe isn't as fun as Scotty Orange was looking for.
Well, we deal with
Dave,
truth, uncomfortable truths on this channel.
I feel like in the Jurassic Park universe, that would not be the case because you know why?
Yeah,
Like
I'm willing to grant you that.
because life finds a way, Dave. Life finds a way.
Yeah, Vin Diesel drove his Trans Am to the moon.
That's correct. All just it doesn't matter what obstacle life faces. Life finds a way.
There you go.
And like the scientist, he said, so you're telling me that female populations are breeding? And he's like, life finds a way. I don't need to. I can whatever your audience objections are. Just
everything. Life finds a way. Yeah. But life finds a way. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I must have cracked a seal or go. I need another bio break.
All right, fair enough.
You have fun doing whatever it is you're doing. Reveal deep secrets behind my back.
We're on the air with Richard Hoagland. Good evening. Good morning.
Art, I have a question.
All right, where are you?
How did he... No, this is Dick.
Where are you, Dick?
Art, can you hear me?
I hear.
Where are you, Dick? Is a sound clip that I feel like we need to make, Art. Out of context. Where are you, Dick? Where are you, Dick?
Yes.
Art, tell you, man, it's off the subject, but you're peddling.
Well, no. It's not off the subject. You're not on the air. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air with Richard Hoagland. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Where are you, sir?
I'm in
Goleta, California. All right, good.
Listen to you on 990.
Right, Sparrow? Absolutely. Jurassic Park with his woke lesbian dinosaur families. Absolutely. I don't know if Godless Engineer is still in the chat. Godless Engineer and I, this previous week, reviewed Answers in Genesis, reviewing the Jurassic Parks. The first 3 films in the Jurassic Park saga, as it were. So once this is all done, if you're still looking forward to more streaming stuff, I had a great time with Godless Engineer, reviewing Answers in Genesis, reviewing Jurassic Park, which is every bit the train wreck that sounds like it might be.
I just wanted to tell you, Art, thanks God that you're out here, that we actually, this is America, and that we actually have this information available to us, and that you broke the story, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I don't know that I broke it. Actually, it broke in Ohio. Isn't that right, Richard?
Yeah, Ohio State University, and I did Laura Lee's show the other night, and it was kind of a preview to set things up, but we're getting into a lot more detail, and I can give out the frame numbers tonight.
Oh, you
Very
can?
important.
Well, then let's stop and do it.
Well, people need to look to the National Space Science Data Center. They need to order the Apollo 10 sequence.
Yes, Paul?
I hope they would actually go to the moon, but they're not. So Scarlett Johansson is signed on for the next round of Jurassic. She's going to be the lead in the next 3 Jurassic Park films.
Yep.
And but I don't think they're going to the moon. I'm still waiting for them. I'm angry they haven't done it already. I'm just waiting for them to actually like dinosaur warfare, where it's like literally, okay, we have dinosaurs. We know they keep hinting around like the military want to use it. Like I think the next step is literally just like Jurassic War. Like forget this Jurassic World. Forget theme parks. Forget people paying to go see dinosaurs anymore. Now we're just in a world where we've got them.
Mm-hmm.
Put them like forget drones.
There was a line of toys in the 80s, I want to say. I never really had them, but I remember it was dinosaurs and people. They were like mad scientists that like strapped lasers and shit on them.
Okay.
I can't remember what that was called. It was a thing. There was like a cartoon and stuff for it.
I do vaguely remember that. I don't remember what it was called.
It wasn't Cadillacs and dinosaurs. It was something else. It was like Dino Wars or whatever. Somebody in chat will probably know.
But
Paul, we got super chats.
I know we have super chats, but I just want. So what I want though, because I'm pretty sure that the people in charge of the Jurassic World franchise are listening right now. So this is my one and only chance to get my opinion.
Yeah. What
Okay.
else are they going to be doing?
We don't need the dinosaurs don't need lasers. Because
No.
if you think about like guerrilla warfare style stuff, like let's just say
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, Dave, but there's some conflict in the Middle East.
I haven't heard. No. I don't watch the news.
Yeah, it's but anyway, any situation where you're kind of like, well, we don't want to send soldiers in, but there's some stuff to be dealt with on the ground. I feel like you could just send dinosaurs. They don't need lasers. They're scary enough on their own.
I mean, are they though? The movies make them look, but I feel like any kind of automatic rifle or high velocity rifle or anti-tank weapon, or there's all kinds of things that would very handily and easily take care of a dinosaur.
I suppose so.
Certainly a velociraptor sized one.
Well, the size that they've decided that velociraptors are, which is of course
any size velociraptors are. Throw it up.
Yeah.
Elephant guns have
Right.
existed for a while and are more than capable of murdering velociraptor.
Rosina, very generous friend of the show tonight. This is America, damn it. Even
this
though
is
Dave
America,
and I,
damn it.
And but neither Dave or I are in America, but that's okay.
Paul, you got to bang your desk. This is America.
Damn
there
it.
you go. Damn it.
Last
time I checked, we won the war. This is America.
That's right. And Regios, which is one of my favorite cereals, did enjoy the review of the AIG movie you did with GE and Jackson Wheat. Yes, that's a callback to the stream that I did earlier on this channel this week.
I wasn't in it, so I didn't pay attention.
No, yes, you're very consistent that way.
Yeah. Where's Lando? It's called out in a rich, clear baritone. That's one of my favorite Saturday Night Live bits of all time. It became increasingly clear that I was not in it. The Billy D review of The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, that
Where's
was good.
Lando? At least one viewer could be heard to call out in a rich, clear baritone. No. See, this is a prequel. This came out like 25 years ago. I can't remember who was it Tim Meadows? No, who was Lando?
Yes, it was Tim Meadows.
Yeah, Tim Meadows. Oh,
yeah, it was Tim Meadows.
That was so funny. It's so good. It's still funny now. Yeah.
I need to go find that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Timothy Harmon, thank you for sticking with us. Timothy Harmon, yeah, we killed whales and elephants without breaking a sweat. Exactly. We can kill the dinosaurs.
Really
and in fact, call back to the Answers in Genesis thing. According to Answers in Genesis and other creationist ministries, we also just handily killed the dinosaurs. The humans finished
Still
off
doing it.
the dinosaurs / dragons. So we got no problems. That was a yawn, Dave.
No, I'm more
that was a sigh. That was a
it's me.
Sigh of delight. Fair enough.
Sigh of delight.
Because we're into callers now, and callers are delicious.
The groove is in the heart, Paul. Yes, I want to hear some callers. We got to hear a couple callers.
It was photographed in the Ukurt region, which is ASN 32-4809 through ASN 32-4822. In other words, 4809, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
Right.
15, etc.
In sequence.
I'm trying to care, Richard, but you're making it really hard. You're really
boring.
Yeah.
Scott, you want
I think it's there. If you had bingo 0, people are saying, Scott Roscoe won bingo 001. Yeah, he did. I said 001. If you have card 1, you won bingo. It's done.
Even I was paying enough attention to know that's true.
Paul's fucking hammered, and he knows what's going on. Anyways, congratulations. You don't get a tumbler because it's just
no tumbler because it's not tumbler night.
Yeah,
because if it was the appropriate night, there'd be a thing up there where it said trivia night.
We only give tumblers away for skill-based.
But you'll notice there's literally nothing has been going on up over there.
I mean, there's nothing that's been going on in this whole fucking channel all night. Let's call it spade a spade.
We have callers, though.
We have callers.
8 by
Hey!
10 negative.
8 by 10 negative.
8 by 10 negative. Now, computer persons pay very careful attention. You want to go.
Computer persons,
But your
Dave,
friends don't
computer persons, you're a computer person and you're not
I am
paying
a computer
attention.
person.
The caller just said computer persons are supposed to pay attention.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was seeing safety.
I know, and that's our sponsor tonight is dancing. So I appreciate that.
I'm a computer person, though.
You are. So let's see what they have to say.
To a local photographic supply facility, good photo lab, Photoshop. If you have a friend with a dark room, you're in Clover. You want to make sectional enlargements of your negatives into very large prints. We've been using 20 by 24 print enlargements. Okay. You then want to scan them with a flatbed scanner, grayscale. You want to then, using commercially available programs, photo program, you want to enhance, contrast enhance, difference, subtract, ratio, sharpen, all the traditional things you would do with images.
You're gonna enhance, you're gonna ratio, you're gonna sharpen.
With commercially available software. Yeah.
Oh, delightful.
Oh, Paul, the super chats. They're coming
We're getting flooded with the super chats.
That's because you know what it is, Paul.
What's
They're
that?
so damn handsome. They can't help themselves.
That doesn't seem correct.
It's clearly not me. Look at this glare. It's like, look at it. What's something that glares a lot?
I
Paul,
I have a haircut on Tuesday and I felt bad like it's not in time for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess now we know what you care about. Hey, Scotty Orange super chatted $5. And Scotty says, say Moon Dinosaur Wars are happening, Paul.
Okay, we're granting the conceit.
I'm
Moon Dinosaur Wars are happening.
Moon Dinosaur Wars are happening.
I'm on board.
Question for you. Your choice of mount.
Okay.
Would you like a raptor, a stegosaurus, a brachiosaurus, or a T-Rex? Well, that's part one of the question.
Okay.
So those four, would you prefer a raptor, a stegosaurus, a brachiosaurus, or a T-Rex? And remember, this is for your mount. You're riding this.
Yeah. I guess it would depend partially on what role I was. I feel like the most fun would be a T-Rex, though.
I mean, it's, so here's where I'm going to go with either the stegosaurus or the raptor. I feel like if you're on the T-Rex, you're getting shot first.
Oh,
right.
Interesting.
Like, you don't want to be that guy.
Right, because that's the flashy, like it's the guy holding the flag, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be the big guy in the tricorn hat and Napoleon outfit when long-range rifles exist.
Fair.
So, yeah.
Because I just felt like Raptor was going to be like Raptor.
But I do agree. T-Rex would probably be the most fun if you're going, and I would be sorely tempted. But I feel like second question, Paul.
Okay. What would be my
what would be your war cry?
What would be my war cry?
Yeah, come on, you drunk bastard.
What would be your cry? Do you have one on the top of your head?
Let's see.
My war cry. Here's
Moon Dinosaur Wars. My war cry would be
my war cry, Dave, is where's Lando?
Where's Lando? I'm gonna be for the Dave Empire. And then everybody cheers because I am the emperor in this scenario. And not the good kind. That's all. Yeah.
Not the good kind. Okay. Thank you for that super chat, Scotty Orange. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thomas Pickett.
I have the link to the SNL Star Wars skit. How do I post? I don't think random people can post links.
No, you could email it to me at paul@paulogia.com.
I mean, anybody can just Google.
Everyone can Google it. I'm obviously not going to play it here because SNL are famously litigious here on the YouTube.
Used to be it was on the comedy section of the Force.net. It might still be there. I haven't been on the Force.net for decades, but Hey,
The-
Rosina
The Ronin.
keeps. Well, we got one before that.
Oh, we skipped.
All at
Oh,
the
sorry.
time.
My
Yeah,
bad.
Rosina Code of Holiness Keller has once again been very generous tonight. Super chat. I'm super chatting because I can't stop imagining Paul and Vice Rhino in a boys love anime. Well, now I can't either. Let me tell you something about Paul. He's into tentacles. Just throwing that out there in the internet forever.
There is, weirdly, last time I had Cirrus and Vice Rhino on my channel, someone
Yeah.
from Cirrus's weird community decided to
Yeah.
do pictures of the three of us
Yeah.
as hentai girls.
Right. Yep.
So
It's
they
pronounced
took our
hentai.
took our avatars and made them female, and
Right.
and that was it made me feel weird feelings.
You felt some emotions.
There was a variety of emotions. So yeah.
I don't love this, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, it was ambiguous. It was ambiguous feelings. I will say. The Ronin
for $5.
writes, consider this a pre-order for that BL anime.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we will.
Paul doesn't make anime, but he doesn't make comic books.
As soon as it happens, we will definitely send it your way.
Comic book that perhaps will be a made motion picture. TBD.
We'll talk about that on a future episode.
Possibly the May 20th charity stream.
Ooh.
Support MS. Come check it out. Maybe hear big spoilers about Paul's potential Hollywood future. Maybe not. I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to tantalize them in the hopes that you show up and give good money to a very good cause.
That's right.
Everyone who's not there is stupid and lame. Come on, hang out on the 20th. We're going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm going to be there, so it'll be fun.
I think, Dave, the wise decision would be to go to the bottom of the hour and then call it.
Okay. That sounds fair to me.
All right.
We're on the clock now.
And you want to examine various sections of the...
We got the pops.
See, this is why I shouldn't be in charge of things. Snaps, crackles, and pops.
print enlargements, okay? You then want to scan them with a flatbed scanner, grayscale. You want to then, using commercially available programs, you want to enhance, contrast enhance, difference, subtract, ratio, sharpen, all the traditional things you would do with images.
Right.
And you want to examine various sections of the photograph using this methodology. What you can use as a guide is the video, all right? The video will have on the video the frame numbers, so each time there's an enlargement or a section, we will refer to the section of the photograph that we have used. And the idea here is to duplicate, to follow our trail, follow our lead, and to confirm what we have found.
Well, you just told them how they can do it, and then after you do all that, you want to put them into GIF files, please, and upload them
on the internet. Send us copies.
I would recommend the antimatter section of the Omni group up on America Online.
I've talked with Keith Farrell. Keith was supposed to come to OSU, and unfortunately...
That didn't age well. Don't do that now. That's not going to help anybody. No.
He had a last-minute problem, but even he has not seen Keith Farrell is editor of Omni Magazine. He wanted us to do something for Omni Online, and we're still debating what we might do or not do.
I'd just like to see the GIF files up there so everybody can get it.
Yep.
All right, on the toll-free line, you're on the air with Richard Hoagland. Hello.
There are more frame numbers, Art.
There are more frame numbers?
Oh God, yes.
Caller...
Yes.
I think this is the weird fool's errand. I get that he wants to be able to prove, like, you can go prove this on your own. Like, you can, don't take my word for it. You can order these from NASA. I get that. But also, we don't need thousands of people. At this point in time, millions of people were listening to this show.
Yes.
They don't need even tens of thousands of people all ordering the same and then converting them all to animated GIFs.
Well, or just high res JPEGs,
Mm.
JPEGs. Yeah.
Well, Art specifically, I didn't even notice. Did he pronounce them GIFs or GIFs?
I mean, I say GIF.
But what did
What do
Art
you-
say? I'm curious as to what Art. I
Oh,
say. I absolutely say because
already-
GIF because
yeah.
it's graphic interchange format. Graphic interchange format. So
Mhm.
graphic G for graphic. Yeah. But don't ask me why I pronounce Pelagia the way I do, because no one knows.
They don't have to. It's your name.
That's right.
You can
Hold
say
on a
Pelagia
second.
however you want.
Hold on. Go ahead, Richard.
You also want to request the Lunar Orbiter series, Lunar Orbiter 3, the convention for ordering photographs from NSSDC, which is the National Space Science Data Center, which is at the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. That's all you have to write. National Space Science Data Center, Goddard Space Flight Center, Greenbelt, Maryland.
Right.
Okay. You want the Apollo 10 series, AS10 32 4809 through 4822, the Lunar Orbiter series, following frame, Roman numeral 3. That stands for mission number 3. Lunar Orbiter 3. Dash 80.
Gotcha. So 3, Dave, the Roman numeral 3,
Yeah.
that stands for 3.
That's a common misconception,
Mhm.
Paul. It stands for I.
A lot of people, they think it means I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Aye.
Here. Aye.
On 84M, you will see a 7-mile-high crystalline tower perched on the edge of the moon. It is a perspective shot looking south.
Where the fuck has that been for an hour and a half?
Also, what specifically is the edge of the moon? I'm curious. Let's go drill down on that.
What's
Where's
a flat?
the edge of the moon?
Dave, you don't think the moon is round, do you?
I mean,
Are you one of those globe mooners that I hear so much about?
I'm a product of public schools, so I guess I just don't know no better.
I suppose you think that eclipse we recently had was a true thing.
Here's a fun, so all the other planets are round.
Yeah,
this planet's flat.
Of course.
Because it just the other ones are spheres. That doesn't mean
No, but that's obvious. I'm asking you if you are one of those fools that think that the moon is round.
I mean, I do, Paul. I do. That's what the Bible tells me. And lo, the angel,
one of those fucking globe mooners.
The wise men, and said,
You probably bought some glasses to look at the sun the other day, didn't you?
It was completely overcast where I live. Completely. So
you just stared at it like you're a fool
without or anything.
All right. Well,
the previous eclipse I got a good look at through a welding helmet to protect my vulnerable eyes. Yeah,
that was just NASA pulling. That was big. It was big science just pulling the wool over your eyes, Dave. The moon is flat.
Big moon.
Yeah.
Southwest from just south of Lukert toward the southwestern edge of Sinus Medi, and on the horizon you will see something that has no business being there. Together, located 250 miles from the camera, because that's the distance of the horizon from the orbiter, at the altitude of 30 miles, which is where the picture was taken. They were 30 miles down on the deck. Art,
right?
You will see two objects sticking up above the horizon. One is about 1.5 miles high. We call it the shard, and it's sharp-edged. It has internal geometric detail. It has a long shadow extending out to the right, out to the northwest.
Right.
And it looks like the World Trade Tower cut off about a third of the way up. Next to it, you will see a kind of a fuzzy, indistinct thing that is several times higher. When you do the proper enhancement, that...
Where has this been the whole... so for an hour and however long, it's been like this vague... Well, this is
the hard. This is what we've been craving. This is what we want. Like, give us the nuts and bolts. And you're dropping it 3 hours into the show when Paul and I are both too drunk to appreciate this.
That's right.
And you brought this up when we were sober, and
for the first 2 hours of the show, it's like, well, if roughly sound waves tell me roughly that there's a basement,
there's some kind of hexagon magic sound wave reservoir.
And now it's like, oh no, if you look at picture number 17,
you can see 1.5 mile crystalline tower with clearly defined. Yeah, that's what I want. Tell me these, and then if we were better, we'd look them up online and probably
bury the lead. Bury the lead.
You're talking about your fucking Dorito craters. Chad is very concerned, Paul, that you keep dropping F-bombs.
Well,
Nobody ever seems concerned when I do it.
no, it's
Okay.
true. That's
part of my charm.
That's not my MO.
No,
All right.
It's part of mine.
Melly writes, everyone knows the moon is a cheese wheel.
Yes.
Fair
Moon is
enough.
made of cheese. As Wallace and Gromit clearly demonstrated in their documentary, Grand Day Out.
You have 5 minutes to think of a joke.
Turns out
Okay.
to be a mile-wide mega cube of glass crystalline cubes perched on a tower extending 7 miles down to the lunar surface at the edge of the moon's disk.
All of this, Richard, on Roman numeral 384M?
That's it.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you the following. This is where things get really cute because we've been going to various archives. We had my friend Joe Gill, who is the head of, or was the head of Sotheby's in New York, moved to Hawaii recently, asked me, what can I do to help? And I told him to please go to the Hawaiian Archive, NASA's archive at the University of Hawaii.
You're being heard in Hawaii right now.
And try to get copies of some of the photographs from the Hawaiian Archive.
Well, a lot of Hawaiians, what would you say to go to the Hawaiian
Go to the
Archive?
Hawaiian Archive. Now, this is what you're going to find when you get there. This Hawaiian Archive, which is on a rock 1,000 miles away from me right now, not exactly easy to get to,
Yes.
does not contain any facilities for making copies of any of the NASA data.
Oh, boy.
They have prints,
believe
they
that.
have a copy stand, but you must bring your own camera and your own film. Now, is this a way that the American people are well served by their tax dollars?
I 100% believe they have a photocopier on that.
First of all, well, I mean, whatever. I feel like anytime you have to bring your own camera, you also got to bring your own film. I don't feel like that's ever a we
don't provide film?
we have unlimited film, but
My tax dollars. My taxes pay your salary.
yeah,
It's a good question, Pega Jace. Don't have an answer for you. Nobody knows. Just is. Have you ever watched any Wallace and Gromit, Paul?
yeah. Yep.
Grand Out. I mean, they're it's the attention to detail is always, as animation exercises, they are fantastic. I love Wallace and Gromit.
Yes, I as do I. But it's been a long time. Been a long time since I've revisited any of
Within the
those.
last year, I went through and watched all with some friends who had never seen it. So we watched like the 3 original Wallace and Gromit shorts, and then watched the Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
This is what I want to say. I think I enjoyed them more when they were in short form as opposed to like when they tried to do features, or Chicken Run or like any other.
Well,
like,
Chicken Run is Wallace, specifically the Wallace and Gromit, the Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good movie. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I own Chicken Run on DVD and Blu-ray, but
I'm not saying it's bad.
But
But
original, yes,
but it's one of those. It's one of those ones that it was one, and maybe it's like the asshole's like, well, I liked the UK office and not the other office, whatever. But
yeah, you're the guy at the record store. It's like,
right.
Well, they sold out when this,
But I did enjoy the earlier iterations. All right, I feel like we are now to the point of telling a joke, Dave.
You gotta tell a joke. That's it. We're done.
I think so. Unless you want.
I'll make it a short one tonight because I feel like a long joke will lose you. Okay. You even gave me a warning. Hey, Paul.
Yes, Dave.
Paul. I don't know if you know this, but in 3,026 years from now, Paul.
Okay.
Life will either get better or it'll be worse. It's pretty much 50-50. There you go. Yeah. It's nice.
That's a math-related joke. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Dave, for being with me here tonight. Thank you for everyone in the chat who hung out with us.
Vishanti's accurate. The opening to every joke.
That's true. That's how.
Paul. Hey, Paul.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
All
right.
right. Fun.
Well, this was a fun night. I just got a notification on my phone that said the Oilers won, so that's good.
Yeah, that's great. Good for you. I'm really glad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for everyone for being here with us, and we will see you. Well, we have a show before May 20th. Put it on your calendar for May 20th, but we have another show before then.
We do have another show before that.
And I promise not to do any more.
We
it won't be Moon City related because
No, I think we.
Do you think we've given him a fair shake now, right?
Like we gave him a fair shake. Yeah, I think we pretty much got a good beat on what Richard Hoagland's deal is.
Right. Exactly. Yep. All right.
And 130 to 125.
We got insert joke here, says Quasimeo. So we appreciate. All right. Well, thank you everyone for showing up, and we will see you next time.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, Dave?
This is a joke I heard this week. Since it was a short one, I'll give you 2 jokes this week.
2 jokes. Okay.
You know what the worst part about being fired from the unemployment office is?
Worst part about being fired from the unemployment office? No, what's the worst part about being fired?
Next day, you still got to show up at work.
Ooh.
Whatever. I thought it was funny.
All right. Well, on that, we will end it. Good night, everybody.
Good night. And that's the end of our show.
Now I'm waiting for the regular stream to catch up to where we are so I can end it.
Oh, fuck, you're catching up.
Well, we're going to end the stream before I do, so.
Boy, it's right down. Down to the wire.
Down to the wire.